Good day, everybody. Welcome into the Hoopsville studios. I'm your host, Dave McHugh. Welcome into the WBCA studio where we're going to be talking plenty of D3 basketball. If you got questions for us, you can email us, hoopsville@d3sports.com. You can join us on Twitter at D3Hoopsville or hashtag Hoopsville. You can join us on Threads at D3Hoopsville as well. I actually have the Threads channel up and running today. So we'll keep track in case there's any notifications that you guys have asked us anything. We'll try and keep track of the hashtag Hoopsville side too. I'm still trying to get used to Threads. Blue Sky, I know we have an account on. I'm just not proficient with it. We're on Instagram, but to be honest, that is tough to follow in show live. Also on Facebook, facebook.com/Hoopsville. There you go. There's your rundown of all the ways you can get a hold of us. If you got questions, fire them our way. Got questions for our guests, fire our way. I will warn you, two guests you won't be able to talk to today or ask questions because we already talked to them, are the last two of the show. We'll get to that in a bit. Lots of news and notes to get to. I promised in our write-up for the show Tuesday, trying to remember which day I did the show, Tuesday, that I would talk about the Heidelberg women's basketball situation now. I forgot to. So we will try and get to that today. I will literally write myself a note as we speak. There we go. Heidelberg. Another great week of basketball already in the books. Not surprising. A lot of fascinating races, especially on the men's side. We'll just look at it last night. Carthage defeated Illinois Wesleyan in a big matchup. Quote-unquote upset because Illinois Wesleyan's in the top 25. Carthage is not. Remember, Carthage was a team a lot of us thought would be in the top 25. Oh, just noticed something missing in my studio. Not sure we'll fix that today. We'll see. I'll get to that. So anyway, Illinois Wesleyan losing to the Firebirds, which created a tie atop the conference. Appropriately enough, if you're looking at the marquee on our show, we'll be talking to Illinois Wesleyan today. Ron Rose and Nora Cleveland will join us. We had that booked as of Monday, just for the record. We had to get ahead of the week and went and got a bunch of work done. So they're in and done and dusted and all that jazz. So we'll be talking to them but after that loss, but what it really means in general for them. The WIAC has a four-way tie. It continues to be insane in the WIAC. WIAC-iness, right? Stevens Point defeated Platteville. Oshkosh lost to, let's see, go through this important. So Stevens Point at home beat Platteville. Oshkosh lost at home to Whitewater, meaning there are four teams now at 5-3. La Crosse and Stout are a game back at 4-4, which means it's just insane. And the Centennial F&M defeated Washington College. Gettysburg upended McDaniel. Ursinus defeated Swarthmore, and Hopkins topped Dickinson, meaning you got a two number of teams tied at atop are now down to 4. Yeah, that's right, because Swarthmore fell to 4-2. One game back of Ursinus, who's 5-1. Their lone loss to Gettysburg. I saw that game myself, right? Yes. I'm forgetting which teams I've seen. I've seen Ursinus. I saw Ursinus and Dickinson on back-to-back nights or back-to-back games. Montclair, they're just dominating the NJAC. It's wild to see the NJAC as just insane as it is in terms of it's Montclair and then everybody else. Montclair remains the only undefeated team in the nation. By the way, TCNJ is at least keeping track thanks to a last-second shot. Congratulations. I'm just reading the recap at d3hoops.com, folks. If you're wondering what I'm doing, this is how I remember what's going on. Redlands got past Chapman to continue to hold on to be at the top of that race. WPI took another loss. They lost to Clark. So the WPI team that I removed from my ballot. Shoot, I don't even have my ballot in front of me. We will get to that in just a moment. Removed from the ballot last week. One of 4 teams I removed last week from my ballot. I removed another 5 from my ballot this week. None of the 4 last week moved in. So that's 9 out and 9 in the last 2 weeks. Crazy, to be completely honest. Let's see. Double checking. Yeah, WPI's out. So top 25 is a mess. I think the new Max just unknown. It's hard to gauge what's good and what's not in that conference. Otterbein won an 11th straight. Congratulations to them. Any of you who thinks there's a jinx out there. Andy Winter's 100th career win. We missed that on our conversation. Catholic stays top the landmark because Scranton lost again. Catholic rolled past their my alma mater, and Drew knocked off Scranton, and it wasn't close by 24. So it's amazing. Scranton was off to this tremendous start in the year, 1 loss. They beat Catholic. A lot of us, like myself, were like, oh my gosh, Carl Danzig has his team back in clicking order. Let's jump in on this. I mean, with 1 loss, we can't overlook that. That's a solid win. I don't want to. So I put them in my top 25. Admittedly, I put them a little too high in my top 25. I shouldn't have had them that high. They should have been in there, but not where I put them. I think I put them 16 because I was kind of stuck with, well, they're 1 loss. They got to win over Catholic. They seem to have a better resume than like all these other teams, but you could shuffle things around from 10 to 25 so easily. So I had them at 16, and I pulled them this week because they lost by 30 to Wilkes, and they needed overtime to get past my alma mater, and Catholic had an easy time of it, which proves the win over Catholic for Scranton probably was more about Catholic than it was about Scranton. I left Catholic in my top 25 this past week at 25 after moving them up, then removing them, then finally just left them. There's so many teams that are so inconsistent. By the way, if you want to see my ballot, go to buymeacoffee.com/hoopsville. That's buymeacoffee.com/hoopsville. If you're watching on the stream, it's at the bottom of your screen or the QR code in the corner. Role player or higher membership will get you access to that every week. I know I got an email, by the way, from somebody about donation. I will be getting to you in due order. I promise you about that. Oh, hold on. What happened here? Did a tweet not go out the door? Sorry, I'm double checking. I got an error message, even though I thought I tweeted something. It never went out the door. So we'll have to send that out. Telling everybody we're live, and it didn't work. By the way, if you also want to chat with us, and I'm just noticing everybody is in there now, there is a chat room option in the YouTube page. And speaking of which, let's see, Cameron asks, heck of a game last night. TCNJ versus Stockton went to double OT. Yeah, and TCNJ got it on a buzzer beater. From what I saw, the ball was out of his hands with about almost 2 seconds on the clock. So there's no controversy there. Home victory over Stockton. First time in 4 years. I didn't realize that. TCNJ, first home victory over Stockton in 4 years. Apparently TCNJ's video stream was cutting out for at least some people. So much D3 action last night, so it was more of whip-around viewing for games for me. You are right, sir. And I was tied up with a family birthday, so I had to kind of watch from my phone. Not watch. I couldn't do that. So that's the men's side. On the women's side of things, kind of a quieter night. But conferences have obviously flipped to the second side of things. But Oshkosh, Baldwin Wallace, and William Patterson had good nights. Hope did get upset by Albion. How about that? Number 9 Hope lost to Albion. I don't remember. We'll have to look at the last time that happened. And Mary Slicner added another career record to her resume. I mean, Mary, we'll talk more about the Slicners a little later in the show. Whitewater held number 3 Oshkosh in check for a while before the Titans exerted control and defeated the Warhawks 55-43. I'm reading Gordon Mann's write-up last night. William Patterson is in good shape, outscored Montclair by 20 in the third quarter to win 87-69. Baldwin Wallace didn't need a third quarter to beat Otterbein because the Yellow Jackets led the Cardinals from start to finish. Remember, was it Baldwin Wallace who needed a big third quarter last week to win? Hope's offense went cold on the road. Albion pulled away from the Flying Dutch 60-54 in overtime to win. I'm trying to see if that mentions the last time Albion beat Hope, and I don't see it here. Mary Slicer broke the career record for double-doubles as she tallied 17 points and 20 rebounds in their win over WNL's win over Roanoke. It gives her 84 double-doubles, breaking the record held by Swarthmore's Catherine Stockbauer and Randolph-Macon's Kelly Williams. Williams, remember, just a handful of years ago was playing. Generals are now 18-0, 9-0 in the ODAC. It's just unbelievably good team. We talked to Mary and her coach, Brittany Kemp, a while back. Don't forget to check out the Hoopsville archives or listen to the podcast. I know we're a different show. We do it a little more TV style. That's where my background is, and we've always done that where we do multiple interviews. We have a lengthier show. We don't do one individual interview. We certainly have thought about that. We're doing that with the Off Court podcast. But this show, as its entirety, is multifaceted like that. And so check that out. Go to the archive, go watch that interview and many of the others we've had. And for those of you who aren't familiar, what we try and do on this show is interview a school or a program once, not a school, but a program once between the start of the year and the end of February. So conference championship week and March tournament action is about where we start changing that up, unless we have a compelling reason to do so. Case in point, we had Scranton O'Brien on for the women's program earlier in the season, but then we had Casey Cranston on because she was playing her friend at Catholic, Skoblock, coming up. It was going to be one of their last times playing against each other after being friends and playing with each other and against each other all their lives. So we had her on for that. Now, if we wanted Scranton men's basketball on, we'll have them on. That's not related. We also try and rotate the regions and try and rotate the genders. We're not doing as well on the gender thing. Usually if I have a Region 8 men's team, the next time I have Region 8 on, it's a women's team. I'm having a little trouble with that this year because this year, instead of saying these regions are on these particular days, I decided to take a different approach and just go with let's rotate things because some schools are available on different days and some stories are more important to tackle. That's been a little rougher to make sure we're switching genders. Might have to fine tune that in the off season, but we have had a ton of interviews this year. I'll have to check it at some point this year to see how many we had because I think we're marching our way also towards a record number of episodes this season. Gettysburg came from behind to beat McDaniel 65-60. I think they were down 11 in the third quarter, if memory serves. 300th career victory for Nate Davis, by the way. Good news for McDaniel was Elena Beckett was back. That I'm happy about because Elena Beckett is such a good player. And that's a good loss for McDaniel. I know they go 0-2 against Hopkins and Gettysburg, but I think McDaniel's there. McDaniel could be a threat in that conference tournament. They've got to play both teams again a second time, if memory serves anyway, so that we'll see how that plays out. Those games are both at home, so McDaniel will play Gettysburg and Hopkins on the road next. That'll be interesting, too. Go to d3hoops.com. Get all the latest news there. Great write-ups from Pat Coleman and Gordon Mann last night. By the way, speaking of Gettysburg, I am wearing Gettysburg gear today. This is a new thing. We normally never wear gear, or I shouldn't say never. Occasionally, we will not wear gear. Or we will wear gear on the show. We've changed our mind. We've decided, you know what? You are sending us stuff. If it fits me, it's getting on air. We will talk more about this later in the show, but if you're wondering why I'm wearing Gettysburg, that's why. I have one rule about it, or I guess two rules. I will not wear it if I am talking to anybody else in your conference. So if we had a Centennial guest on the show today, I wouldn't wear Gettysburg colors or shirts or anything. Pullover, quarter zip, whatever is sent my way. The other rule being, I think it was essentially Region 2, if it's in the region, but I don't remember that specifically. I got to go back and listen to my own rules. So we're wearing gear. So if you've got gear and you want to send it our way, you have a jersey you want to send it our way, stay tuned to the end of the show. We'll go through the spiel about how you can get that accomplished. But the easiest thing is email me, hoopsville@d3sports.com, or if you know my email address, use that. Again, hoopsville@d3sports.com, or use my email address. That is the easiest way you can do it. And also go to buymeacoffee.com/hoopsville to sign up for supporting us. Coach Nettie, appreciate your support most recently. Let's talk quickly about what's on the show before we take a break because I'm running behind. Illinois Wesleyan men's basketball coming up. Russell Sage men's basketball coming up. They're 16-2 this season. having one of their best season in program history. We'll talk to Brian Barnes about that. Immaculata women's basketball is stringing together two of the best back-to-back seasons their program has ever seen. They're under an alum in Brittany Whalen. We'll talk to her about that incredible squad by their standards and the America East Conference as a result. And then Colorado College joins us. Katherine Auguste. She used to be Mendez. She's August now. Katherine Auguste joins us to talk about the Tigers and SCAC play and frequent flyer miles. And she's a member of the WBCA board. We'll talk to her about that coming up as well. But in the meantime, we got to take a break because Titans are on deck and they want to talk about that. No, they don't want to talk about losing to Carthage last night, but we do. So we'll talk to them coming up about that. You're listening to Hoopsville, presented by D3Hoops.com from the WBCA studios. Back with a ton more on this show coming up. We've got more schools than Division I, more fans than Division II, more upsets than March Madness. There's nearly 850 programs with over 11,000 games leading to 2 national championships. And we've been covering it all for over 2 decades. From Eastern to Occidental, from Puget Sound to Piedmont, from Southwestern to the University of New England, and from Hope to Calvin. Nobody covers Division III basketball like we do. We're D3Hoops.com at www.d3hoops.com. The National Association of Basketball Coaches is the nation's premier professional development and advocacy organization for basketball coaches at every level. The NABC strives to serve as the voice for coaches on national issues while advancing the core value of leadership, service, advocacy, education, and inclusion. To learn more about the NABC and to become a member, visit NABC.com and follow the NABC on social media at NABC1927. That's NABC.com or NABC1927 on social media.
It's on us to stop sexual assault.
In any way that we can.
To get a friend home safe.
To never blame the victim.
It's on us.
To stand up.
To make our community safe for all.
It's on us.
It's on us to look out for each other at parties.
It's on us.
To be more than just a bystander.
To step up and say something.
It's on us, all of us.
To stop sexual assault.
Learn how and take the pledge at itsonus.org.
If I lose, I'll respond with respect.
If I win, I'll back it up with humility.
If I fail, I'll rise up with honor.
It's tough for us to put it all on the line.
Don't undo my hard work with poor sportsmanship.
Respect. It's the name of the game.
Coach of the Year, Administrator of the Year, All-America Team, Wade Trophy. The WBCA doesn't just honor coaches, but players, administrators, and much more. The WBCA strives to honor those who have contributed to the advancement of women's basketball. Celebrate the present, honor the past, look to the future.
I used to never really talk, ever. I was afraid if I said something wrong, everyone would laugh at me. But then I started to play golf with Special Olympics. It helped me to find my voice. And now everyone else is speechless.
We've got more schools than Division I, more fans than Division II, more upsets than March Madness. There's nearly 850 programs with over 11,000 games leading to 2 national championships. And we've been covering it all for over 2 decades. From Eastern to Occidental, from Puget Sound to Piedmont, from Southwestern to the University of New England, and from Hope to Calvin. Nobody covers Division III basketball like we do. We're d3hoops.com at www.d3hoops.com. The National Association of Basketball Coaches is the nation's premier professional development and advocacy organization for basketball coaches at every level. The NABC strives to serve as the voice for coaches on national issues while advancing the core value of leadership, service, advocacy, education, and inclusion. To learn more about the NABC and to become a member, visit nabc.com and follow the NABC on social media at NABC 1927. That's nabc.com or NABC 1927 on social media.
It's on us to stop sexual assault.
In any way that we can.
Welcome back to Hoopsville, everybody. Appreciate you taking the time to join us today. The marquee is set, as you can see over my shoulder. It's Illinois Wesleyan, Russell Sage, Immaculata, and Colorado College basketball programs. Today on the show, if you want to email us, hoopsville at d3sports.com. That's hoopsville at d3sports.com. If you want information about what you can send to us, swag, jerseys, shirts, we'll talk all about it at the end of the show. But that email address also works as well, unless you know my email address. You can also send us a message at D3Hoopsville or hashtag Hoopsville. Our first tweet about us being on the air never got out the door, but we've gotten the latest one out. And what else? Yeah. On the bottom of your screen, if you're watching us live or even if you're watching the archive. Sorry, podcasters. I think you know for the most part how you can get a hold of us. Don't forget, buymeacoffee.com/Hoopsville as well to donate or become a Hoopsville member. That's where you can see my top 25 ballot. Where this week I had the Titans about middle of the pack. That's where I've had Illinois Wesleyan most recently. The CCIW race, like a lot, has been a bit of a challenge. Let's just call it that. For a lot of teams. Last night was none the exception. Carthage, who started the season a little bit rough, seems to be catching fire, and Illinois Wesleyan found out about it last night as they took a tough loss at home, 80-65, but they're good sports about it because joining us on the Hoopsville hotline to talk about that and the race and all that, Ron Rose, the head coach of the aforementioned Titans, and Noah Cleveland, their sophomore forward. Gentlemen, thank you so much for joining me. I really appreciate it.
Well, thanks for having us on, Dave. Your reaction time was impressive. I'll say that.
I appreciate it. Yeah, I still have my old goalie skills. I was able to catch that about halfway down to the ground before a little bit spilled out, but not the whole thing, which would have been a complete disaster of the coffee spill. At least it didn't spill on the audio board. Again, gentlemen, tough loss last night, Ron. Against a Carthage team we all knew was going to be good this year, but did not start the season that way. I'm suspecting you all knew going in this was going to be a bit of a beast.
Well, preseason pick to win the league. We know their players. I mean, they are a very, very good basketball team that we have a lot of respect for. And, yeah, unfortunately, the timing of us coming on the show, you know, Dave, we haven't lost for a month and a half. And the night before we're on the show, I'm not going to say you jinxed us, but
yes, you are.
Gracious.
Ron, you have leaned on that one harder than anybody I know, and I love you for it. For the record, I'm just going to look over my shoulder. Russell Sage has not lost. Immaculata has not lost. Colorado College has not lost. Now, some of them haven't played since I invited them on the show, but last night teams who were on Tuesday's show didn't lose. So I just want to say, it's not universal, maybe just a Titans thing.
It's us.
But yeah, I mean, listen, this is a good, I know it's a good team, but it's got to sting a little bit, Ron, to be honest, because it was a home loss. It wasn't at their place.
No doubt. The Shirk Center, as you know, is a great venue. It's been a great home court advantage. The recipe for winning a conference championship is you win your home games, and then you go on the road and you steal some. And so taking that home loss is disappointing. Carthage played incredibly well. I don't think we played nearly as well as we needed to. but there's a lot of basketball yet to be played. That puts us in a tie for the lead with Carthage. Wheaton is a half a game back, and what is it, 6 or 7 games to be played. So there's a lot of basketball to be played. Still a lot of jockeying that's going to happen within the conference race, but certainly we're disappointed that we didn't get the job done last night.
Noah, from your perspective, you get a win over Carthage at their place in overtime back at the beginning of December, and then you take a 15-point loss at home. What's an evening after that game like from your perspective? Like, how do you internalize that, process it, deal with it, wake up the next morning as an athlete?
Yeah, like similar to last night, I think like winning streaks are hard because after you win for a while, you kind of like, oh, I'm feeling good, and you kind of ease up. But talking to some of the guys last night, we're all just after the loss, which it just it gets us back in the right mindset, and we're more hungry than ever just to work harder, get back in the win column. And I think, I don't want to say we needed it, but it puts us back in the right headspace.
Ron, to some degree, I've said this on the air before, Smith women losing to Trinity maybe is a bad thing for their upcoming opponents. There's this thing where, as a coach, you probably have a small smirk on your face because that's the kind of thing that can refocus a team and drive them to the next level.
No doubt. Noah said that really well. Unfortunately, sometimes it does. You do have to be refocused. I think this group has done a nice job of staying in the moment, but it is easy to, when you win, I don't know what it was, 8 or 9 in a row, that it's human nature sets in, and you're just not as sharp or as focused in your preparation or how you play. And I've said this, we've really played well this year, and then other games we've played well enough. And you play well enough, you're going to have a night like last night. And so, we've got to get back to playing really good basketball. And the bugaboo for us has been a little bit of consistency of doing exactly what we're really good at all the time. And, I think we have a very good team. We have all the pieces needed to be successful, but you got to continue to do those things that play to your strengths.
You have an interesting season this year. Start off the year, win over Illinois College, a big win over Oshkosh, another big win against Chicago. That was a dandy of a game. You absolutely blow the socks off Wisconsin Lutheran team that a lot of us thought was going to have a pretty tremendous season, and just hasn't worked out for them. Or actually, I'm confusing them with the women's. I apologize there. They're 4-14. I don't know why I'm thinking that. Stout, though, then you take a loss. And in hindsight, or at the time, we're all like, what? Now, how Stout is not running roughshod in the WIAC, but they're causing problems. You get that win over Carthage, then you lose to North Central and Elmhurst. And admittedly, that 3 out of 4 game stretch, I started really wondering, what have we got with Illinois Wesleyan this year? What was that stretch like, Ron? And Noah, will ask you too. And how's the team come out of that? Because that started the win streak that ended last night.
Well, we knew, or I felt like this year we were going to be a team that gets better as the year goes on because we had so many new pieces, including Noah. But we had several guys that either new to the program or taking expanded roles. So I knew we were going to be a team that evolved and improved as the year went on. We got off to a 5-0 start. As you mentioned, a couple big wins, probably further ahead than I would have anticipated. In that Stout game, we lost Josh Fridman, our point guard, freshman of the year last year, for the season. And it really kind of took a little bit of time because now we're reshuffling the deck, trying to reinvent ourselves in the middle of the season, in the middle of playing games being thrust into conference play. So losing 3 out of 4 was difficult, but it was also the process of kind of redefining roles, redefining ourselves. And then I thought we got our stride, and that's when that win streak started. And I do feel like guys have settled into roles. we just didn't necessarily play him as well as we needed to last night. Noah, how would you describe kind of that process?
Yeah, it was what you said. I think it was mainly just the loss of our point guard, Josh Friedman. He was our kind of floor general. He's, I don't know if I want to say leader, but like leader on the floor, that point guard position, what he does. And just the loss of him, we were all kind of scrambling during that Stout game. So, I mean, that was kind of like, that whole game was just kind of a mess. And then after that, like Coach said, we were just figuring out our roles. Like, how are we going to fill this big position in? And Jackson Diego stepped up and done a tremendous job. Nobody, I don't think, could have done it better than him. But, yeah, that was just a big bump in the road. But I think after a few losses, we found ourselves.
Jackson, Noah, if Jackson's in the room telling you to say that, just blink twice. We'll get you some help. No, you're absolutely right. That's where I was headed next, was that Friedman went down in that Stout game. And obviously you guys have to figure things out, not only in the moment, but immediately after. And we saw the lumps, right? And we saw things get figured out. And Diego, as you said, showed up. Noah, this is technically the first time you're experiencing this, i.e. the true, battle within the conference, the true grind of the season, the true emotions of Ron Rose. From your perspective of going through all this, and how well do you think you were prepared for it, and can you be prepared for it?
Yeah, I think, well, this is my first year of college basketball, so I think me individually, no, I wasn't ready for all the conference battles, all the ups and downs, the unexpecteds. No, not me personally. It's kind of stuff I've been learning as I play. But as a team, I think I could probably still say no. None of us, like, we knew things were going to be perfect, but it's just constant adjusting and problem solving throughout the season. And I think that's good for our team, good for us to learn and adjust. But yeah, it's definitely been a struggle. I think we're doing an okay job figuring things out.
Ron, I mean, Noah Cleveland comes in first year and he's scoring 18.6 points a game. He's pulling down 11.5 rebounds per game. He's one of two guys who gotten a ton of blocks per game, along with Funk, which is, you guys are number one in the nation at 7 blocks per game. He's shooting nearly 60%. Don't let him shoot from outside. Stop doing that, Noah. He's 6 for 27, folks. I know you'd love to see him at the free throw line working on that a little bit more, but tell me a little bit about how Noah becomes part of this program, and how do you get a guy like him ready for this CCIW, for your schedule? And the results are he's already a double-double leading the team in those categories.
Noah's been unbelievable this year. He's been a ton of fun to coach. He fits in perfectly on our team and in our program, and has far exceeded anything that I could have expected. And I knew the talent that Noah has. I mean, we've kind of, there's an article in the paper recently about kind of Noah coming back playing basketball. So it's fairly well documented, but I've known Noah for a long time. I knew Noah when I was taller than Noah. And that's been a while. And certainly we recruited Noah hard because of the type of young man he is, the talented basketball player he is. And I think as you see this interview, he's very thoughtful. He thinks through things. He's very insightful. And so when he decided to play last spring, my goal was, I just want him to be comfortable. I want him to be comfortable playing college basketball. I want him to be comfortable in our program. And I thought we would need to progress Noah along slowly. Well, he's just kind of burst onto the scene. And a big part of that, to be honest, was last year when he didn't play basketball. Noah was down here at the Shirk Center lifting and working out, and Noah can comment on this if he wants, but he's a much better basketball player today than he was 2 years ago in high school or 3 years ago. He's really developed. I've always said this: the game comes naturally to him. Like, he has a natural feel that you can't teach. What teams are throwing at him in terms of double teams, triple teams, the attention that he's getting is really unprecedented of any player that I've coached here, and how he's had to adjust not just to college basketball, but to all those defenses in terms of the double teams coming, and how do you read that, and how do you position yourself. So as great a season as Noah's had, the best is yet to come. He's continuing to learn, to develop, and as a team, no different than we are as a group, learning how to play together as a group and utilize everybody's ability.
It's really interesting how, not that the CCIW has evolved, Ron, but this post-COVID world has evolved. Getting guys like a Noah Cleveland to sign up. And Noah, I'll ask you a little bit about that process. There is a great article in the Pantograph about it, though warning to all, you need to have subscription to read it. We in 5 years, Ron, we've switched from the traditional 4-year, right, where everybody knew about it. Maybe there was some gray shirt and red shirt and going on to keep a guy. Then we had the extra year in COVID, and there's a bunch of transferring because everybody had different types of grad programs that a student athlete, or no grad programs that a student athlete could or couldn't take advantage of it. Now we're kind of in this hybrid where there's a lot of movement in the transfer portal. There's talk about going up to D1. Good for you if you want to. There's a lot of talk about coming down to from D1. Not that guarantees anything. What was different about this, and what's your mentality moving forward in a CCIW that, let's be honest, these aren't the easiest schools to get into?
Well, we are fighting to maintain as close to a blueprint of what has been successful at Illinois Wesleyan as we can. Meaning, we still recruit high school young men. We want them to join our program. We want them to have a 4-year experience where they build meaningful relationships, where you can develop them as players and people, where they get a degree from Illinois Wesleyan and then are proud of that degree, their alma mater. And I think we've got a rich, really unique, and it's one of the great things of being part of this program is just the connection to alumni, former players. I just got an email, the class of 81, the entire class is coming on Saturday just to support the Titans. And that's a regular thing that happens. I don't want to blow that up. That is what makes this place special, the relationships and the development that you get over a period of time. So that is going to be the foundation of what we do here. It's the type of school Illinois Wesleyan is. So I think you need to be true to that. Now, a guy like Noah's a totally different situation. He was here last year. He came to Illinois Wesleyan because of the education, first and foremost. We do have a couple transfers this year. They were young men that we recruited out of high school. So we are still going to be very, if we've done anything right at Illinois Wesleyan, it's identifying Illinois Wesleyan type young men that can be successful in the classroom, on the court, and socially. And that's going to be the blueprint we move forward with.
Noah, that is the interesting part of the story. I don't want to take too much away from the article so that people will go and read it, because it is a solid read, as it always is, from Randy Reinhardt. But yeah, I mean, you chose on 2 separate occasions to walk away from this game, and you spend a year maybe going to Titans games for all I know, watching this team. What was the desire? What was the reason to go, you know what? Yeah, I want to go play for these guys.
Well, there were several reasons, but I'll just give you a couple. I already knew from all the recruiting what type of program this was. I already knew. I loved all the coaches. I knew some of the guys. I knew how close the team was together. So I knew the type of environment this team was. I knew what I was getting into if I were to join. I knew all the guys loved it. And second of all, I had this cool talent and ability that I feel like it shouldn't just go to waste. I kind of should do something with it. So
playing golf, right? That's what we're talking about. It was the golf.
He is a golfer.
I know, that's why I brought it up.
Dave.
Real high school days. But yeah, that's another one of my reasons. Like, if I have this talent and ability, I feel like I should use it. And what better place? I'm already here at Illinois Wesleyan. I know the coaches. I just thought this would be a good place for me.
Well, it's turned out wonderfully. I could talk to you guys for an hour, but let's get back a little bit to the season because you still have games ahead of you. You still have 6 games in conference, and you have the conference tournament, and you plan. I don't know what the term would be in this case, to be in March tournament action as well. Ron, we'll start with you. North Central and Wheaton and Elmer's Head. You have this funky 4-game homestand before you'll play the final 3. Based on what you've said, based on what Jeff Gard said on this show previously, I expect you want to go 3-0 against those 3, and then the next 3, is it 3-0? Is it 2-1? Take it how you lead. How's the mentality moving forward, especially coming off the loss?
Well, it is kind of a funky schedule. We start first semester with 3 road conference games. We finished with 3 road conference games, and now we're in the midst of a 4-game homestand. And it's going to seem very cliche-ish, but I think it's really true. You have to take one at a time. You can't look forward to 2 games down the road, or we can't win 4 home games in a row. I mean, North Central, and I think one of the things that is really unique about the CCIW race this year is every single team is uber competitive. Like, if you look at scores any night out, it's going to be a competitive game, and it's a pick 'em. I mean, you have to be ready to play every night, or you're going to end up being disappointed. You can't look past anybody. And so our sights are on North Central Saturday. If we need to take care of business there, and then we'll move on to the next Wednesday. And we have to have that mindset. And then we can look back in the off season. But right now we need to take one ahead because everything's in front of us. The goal at Illinois Wesleyan is always to compete for a conference championship. Well, we're tied in the lead. So that's right in front of us. The goal is to get into the NCAA tournament and advance in the NCAA tournament. We have some work to do there, but it's in front of us. We control that destiny. So, even though maybe, last night's loss stings, if it can do what Noah said, refocus us where we come out and really play great basketball down here in the stretch, then that's what we're really looking for, is always to play your best basketball at the end of the season.
Noah, what's the mentality from you guys as players? Coming off that loss, you got the nicety of being at home for the next 3, and then you got the grind at the end. I know it's next game up, but what is the chat in the locker
room? We're saying we feel bad for the next team up. We saying, yeah, we feel bad for them because we're that hungry. We feel we're that ready to play that much harder. Just, yeah, that loss last night really hurt us. But it's gonna change how we've been playing. Because I mean, we haven't even been playing like we haven't been like blowing teams out. We beat Carroll by what was it, 2? Like so many close games during this season. Could have gone the other way. Our record could be so different right now. So like Coach Rose work out well for us. So we need to get to where we know we can be, and that's what I think is going to happen after this loss.
And that's where a loss, again, as you say, against Carthage maybe helps wake that up a little bit. But we'll see. A lot to figure out. Gentlemen, I got to let you go, but thank you for the time. Coach knows this, so he'll go first, Noah, so we'll let you tee it up. But we always have a tradition on the show. We let the guests have the final word. Any final thoughts you guys want to share with those who may be tuned in? And Ron, swing away.
Well, first, it is always an honor to be on your show, Dave. You shine a light on Division III and the exposure you give all the programs. Now, stay away from us because apparently
I try. I do try. I'm like, you know what? Ron's not going to want to talk to me right now.
You know I'm kidding, but I think I speak for everybody in the Division III world. Is we appreciate you so much, and all you do to shine a light on players like Noah, teams like Illinois Wesleyan around the country. So thank you for all you do, Dave.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. Noah, any final thoughts? You can take a shot at Coach if you want. I'll let you take it. You're in a different room.
We're in different rooms.
Exactly. Go for it. He won't. And you know what? I promise, no sprints for it.
No. Yeah, thanks for having us on. I guess I'll just keep it short. I'll just say you better watch out for those Titans. I think we're coming in hot.
Yeah, I believe it. I'm fascinated to see how this all plays out, but I'm not going to be surprised if you guys start running roughshod through conference play. Appreciate the time, gentlemen, especially coming off the loss against Carthage. Great insight, great perspective, and at least enjoy it. And I know we'll probably be catching up with you soon. Ron, we'll talk about exactly when you want to talk.
No doubt. Yeah. No doubt. After the season. How about that?
Okay, after the season. So after a championship, then we'll stay away from you. Gentlemen,
right,
take care of yourself. Take care of yourself. Stay warm, and we'll talk soon.
Appreciate you.
Ron Rose, Noah Cleveland joining us on the Hoopsville Hotline. Great to chat with them. Running a little long, but I can't stop talking to those guys. It was just terrific to get their perspective. By the way, that article in the Pantograph, we will link that on our show page. Again, you have to have a membership to read it, but it is a great read, as it always is from Randy. We'll take a break. When we come back, we'll head up to another cold place, Albany, New York. Russell Sage men's basketball is eating up, though. 16 wins on the season, one of the best seasons in program history. We'll talk to Brian Barnes coming up. You're listening to Hoopsville, presented by D3 Hoops from the WBCA studios.
For the love of the game. But for those of us who are Division III student athletes, it's more than that. A lot more.
Sure, the game is important. But as we work so hard to build both mind and body, it's more about team.
That is why NCAA Division III teamed up with Special Olympics. And in giving the gift of sport to those for whom it seemed an impossible dream, we are working to make this a better world.
Help us keep that dream alive.
You can make a difference.
We are the coaches of women's basketball. We are leaders and teachers, dreamers and winners. We are professionals who conduct ourselves ethically and with integrity. We place the education, safety, and well-being of the athletes we coach above.
For over 2 decades, from Eastern to Occidental, from Puget Sound to Piedmont, from Southwestern to the University of New England, and from Hope to Calvin. Nobody covers Division III basketball like we do. We're D3Hoops.com at www.d3hoops.com. The National Association of Basketball Coaches is the nation's premier professional development and advocacy organization for basketball coaches at every level. The NABC strives to serve as the voice for coaches on national issues while advancing the core value of leadership, service, advocacy, education, and inclusion. To learn more about the NABC and to become a member, visit NABC.com and follow the NABC on social media at NABC1927. That's NABC.com or NABC1927 on social media.
Responsibility is being accountable for your words and actions, first and foremost. It also is an obligation to be a positive influence in the communities around you. Being in a D3 program, you're going to have lots of different opportunities. You're not just an athlete, you're also involved in student life. Your academics are extremely important. We give a lot of our student athletes responsibilities right from the start by giving them leadership opportunities. by having them engage in the community, be a positive influence. That's being a responsible person.
There are over 480,000 college athletes. Only 2% would go pro.
That means over 470,000 will not get a shoe contract. No autographs. No private jets. No fan clubs. No Hall of Fame inductions. Instead, they will walk away with something much more valuable.
I did receive a non-athletic scholarship upon entering school.
I got the presidential scholarship, which was huge for me.
I think there's more opportunities for academic scholarships in Division III.
I did receive academic scholarships. Just being involved on campus, being a leader, all those things combined kind of get me recognized. It's a great experience for me.
Welcome back to Hoopsville, everybody. I'm your host, Dave McHugh. We'll keep rolling here real quick. We'll forgive some of the repeat stuff we usually do here because we're running a little bit behind. But next guest up has been a guest on this program before, but it's been a while. But that's because the program is off to its best, well, not start at this point. It's having its best season in program history. It's absolutely rolling this season, and it's kind of fun to watch, even if it's a little bittersweet. We talked earlier this year, not to have a mellow moment here. We talked earlier this year about another death in the great SID community of Scott Geis of York. And when we put up our marquee of names, we included Ann Kelly, who was the head at Russell Sage and a dear friend. She'd be, well, I'm sure she's smiling down right now going, oh, yeah, there we go. Brian Barnes has got this team and probably having a blast writing stories for a 16-2 team. They are 8-1 in the Empire 8. They are tied with Nazareth in the conference standings, but they have a win over Nazareth. That's key. And if you're wondering, no, there's no other game with Nazareth coming up. So they've got the advantage. Can they hold the advantage? Yeah, I said it. Joining us on the Hoopsville Hotline to talk about his Gators, what their program are doing, and what it all means from Russell Sage. It is Brian Barnes. Coach, it is good to see you.
Yeah, it was great to be here. Thanks so much for having me.
Oh, absolutely. Appreciate you also hanging tight with us a little bit here as we're running behind. We said Albany. For those who don't know, Troy is outside Albany. You guys, it's been cold outside, but from what I've watched, it has been pretty hot in the arena. Sorry, I had to get that out of the way. You guys, listen, again, great season. Your two losses are to Trinity, Connecticut, who everyone's lost to. 105-46, though, is probably one you'd like to get back. And then you lost to Keuka in an interesting overtime game. And as a result of this, you came up on Monday's Top 25 show. Ryan Winnable picked you as a deep dive squad. Tell us about this season. What was it? Did you see it coming?
You know, this season has been terrific. It's been a group of young men who've been first and foremost committed to our style of play. And for those that haven't seen us, we play a full court pressing style for 40 minutes, and it demands that you be in incredible shape. And that's, the group has been committed to doing that. Our conditioning has been a separator, for us. And we've been building this culture since COVID with our core values, and each year getting a little bit better and a little bit better. And, this year, half the team is new, right? We've got 7 returners and we've got 7 newcomers, and we replaced 4 starters from a year ago. So I don't think anybody could have predicted we'd get off to the start that we have.
It's an outstanding start. 5 straight to start the season. Again, Trinity, Connecticut. And I don't want to harp on that game, but I am curious because it was such a large loss, 105-46, that I could easily see the team coming into the next game going, oh, we stink, man. We're not that good. And just having their heads down. But you went and blew the doors off Manhattanville 89-68. Kept it up against SUNY Delhi, kept it up against John Jay in a narrow one, got past Utica in overtime before Keuka finally tripped you up. And we should point out, that's all before the holiday break. What was the reaction off of Trinity, and how do you put a loss like that behind you?
Yeah, my mindset matters, and one of our top core values is being growth driven. So it was an opportunity to learn. I don't think it was our best day. It was holiday weekend. Maybe the guys had a little bit too much turkey that weekend before the game. And really with them, I mean, they're fantastic. Look, I mean, they're really good, and they've shown that for 2 years now. And what hurt us in the game was really live ball turnovers. We had 26 turnovers, and I think that led to 34 points off of turnovers, which is uncharacteristic for us. So we were a step slow, and when we met after the game, we talked about having a short-term memory, and we talked about our league being a Friday-Saturday league, right? So however it goes Friday, if it goes really well, you still got to play on Saturday. If it doesn't go so well, you still have got to play on Saturday. So we set that mindset right away. And I think having the core value of being growth driven, really was something we were able to do pretty quickly with our guys.
You've been there for 17 years. Obviously, building the culture is important. And that's what it feels like you have done there. You guys have become kind of a very cohesive unit. But it takes a while. You aren't at one of those schools that is easy to recruit by. So how do you get guys to buy in, and what's been the secret with this roster?
Yeah, as I said, I think a big separator has been our conditioning. Again, if you're going to play the way we play, you got to be in fantastic shape. And our guys take pride in that. When we see the other team wearing down and we're not tired, and we've been in some close games, and we talk about that, under 5-minute mark, 4 minutes to go, we're talking like this is what we're built for, right? So we're ready. And in terms of our culture and our core values, we really kind of had a reset when COVID hit, and they said you can't play basketball, right? But you can meet and you can Zoom and you can do those leadership meetings and things like that. And that's really when I got a sense of clarity of who I want to be as a coach and what I want this program to look like. And we've been steadily building that, for the last 6 years now. And it's exciting to see what our guys are doing on and off the court.
You're led by Brandon Harris, one of 4 seniors on the team at nearly 18 points a game. Pape Tunkara, a junior, at 15 points a game. Kalel Notman, a junior, 13-4. And then the one sophomore on this team, and Kyle Duh. And I hope I'm saying their names right. I practiced them beforehand, but I realized I don't have them in front of me. 11.7. That's 4 significant weapons that you have with a varying amount of experience, but it's 3 guards and a center that allows the inside-outside game to play out pretty nicely too.
Yeah, I mean, this is a deep team, right? We've got 14 guys on the roster, and every single one of these guys can play, and each one of them bought into the role, and it's been difficult in terms of having so many weapons that you can't play everybody. We've really been a next man up team and program. And a couple weeks ago, we had an injury to our backup point guard, and he's going to be out for a significant amount of time, and Diavion Springsteen, and stepped into his place was Adam Myers, and his play the last 5 games, he's got a 6-to-1 assist to turnover ratio and averaging 10 points. He had 20 the other night at Hartwick. So just to speak to the strength of our team really is the team. And I think these guys have played their role, super well. Brandon has been fantastic last 5 games, averaging 20 points a game at 50% shooting. Khalil has been on an absolute tear last 5 games, 18 points, 9 rebounds, 62% shooting. And Kyle was great to see the other night. I mean, he really had some bounce and some life. He's been struggling a little bit, but last night I feel like that was a good step in the direction.
I jumped onto the NCAA stats because every once in a while I jump into these and they give me a fascinating story. And I think with you guys, I was fascinated by this. You're 10th in the nation in free throw attempts per game, averaging 27 per contest. And you're 7th in made. You're making 19 of the 27 at 71%. You're also, rebounding-wise, 3rd in the nation at 45 boards per game, 6th in the nation in offensive boards per game, 16.5 of those 45. The other one that jumped out at me, steals per game, 10th in the nation. Scoring offense, 20th in the nation at 86.6. 3-point defense at 29% is 35th in the nation. turnover margin is 20th in the nation, and a margin of 5.7 better than what you guys do, right? You're forcing the turnovers more than you're turning it over yourself. And turnovers forced per game is 13th in the nation at 19.5. That's the inside stuff of the game, right? That's the minutia. That's the minutia. Apologies. That's the minute detail. It took minute and minutia. Yeah. It's, yes, the other parts are important. We know that. But you guys are you're obviously getting fouls called and forcing the issue and getting to the line and taking advantage of it. Then you're getting second chance opportunities. You're turning the ball over. Like, that's fascinating little stuff. How do you get guys to buy into that?
We know who we are, and we talk about who we are, if not on a daily basis, on a weekly basis. So we're very process oriented, but we talk numbers as well. And the free throw shooting, we're shooting historically well for a program. And a large credit to that goes to Brian Eastman, who's an assistant with me. And he constantly pushes the envelope in terms of results. And free throw, measuring is an easy thing to measure in terms of the percentage. Our style lends us to getting to the line a lot. And when we get there, we got to make them. So we put a lot of time in with that. I credit Coach with constantly being on these guys. And Khalil Notman is a perfect example. Somebody who, historically hasn't shot it well for his career is now up over 70%. In the last 5 games, he's making 80%. So it's going to be tough to follow. And those are going to be points that we need. And then in terms of the offensive rebounds, that's something that we've carried with us for a long time. We're going to be relentless in our pursuit of the ball, and it's really been a fun style to play.
Let's switch to this conference race a little bit. You're no longer new to the Empire 8. You guys have been there since the 2017-18 season, but this is the first time, essentially, that you guys are kind of at the head of the race. Last year, 16-10 season, which means we've already met our overall win mark and 9-7 in conference play, and you're 8-1 now. You're tied with Nazareth to be pointed, but have the advantage with the win. You're a game up on SUNY IT and Utica. You've got a win over Utica already. Double checking IT. Yeah, there we are. That's the one you won in overtime. So you've got kind of a nice position, as it were, in an ever-changing conference, because you got Geneseo and Brockport now in there. What's this race like, other than a lot of travel, like heading to Oneonta to climb the hill to Hartwick most recently? What's this conference race been like? What's this conference schedule been like this year?
Well, we're at the end of January, so every college basketball coach knows how the end of January feels. You're worn down a little bit from the travel and from the tough competition, but it's been a lot of fun. I mean, we talked to our group about this particular group, good being the enemy of great, right? So we've got 7 conference games left. We haven't accomplished anything yet. Any given night, you can get beat, and success isn't something that's owned, it's rented, and rents due every day. So we talk very, very clearly and directly to our guys, and we're just focused on the next game and the next opponent and enjoying the process of what it takes to win and not forgetting that.
You've got the schedule, though, has been funky. You played you played 5 in a row at home between the 13th and the 21st. IT, Houghton, Houghton, Alfred, Nazareth, Fisher, Hartwick. Sorry. No, Hartwick was on the road. Sorry. So 5 in a row at home. Then you're playing 3 on the road, 2 at home, 2 on the road, finish up against Hartwick at home. Being at home's great, but traveling through upstate New York in the dead of winter ain't easy. This grouping of Hartwick, Brockport, Geneseo is going to be a little exhausting, I'm sure, and you hope the throughway's open.
Yeah, it looks like we're going to luck out weather-wise this weekend. You never know. Heading west on the thruway in January and February. Yeah, as far as the schedule goes, everybody goes through it. I mean, maybe next year we can use a little ChatGPT to balance a little home and away here. But it's not an easy job, especially we build these schedules, on 3-year cycles. So it especially not everybody plays everybody twice, so that rotates as well. I mean, so it's a thankless job to really get the schedule exactly to please everybody.
No, absolutely right. Though ironic, my son just the other day asked me if schools could be using AI type programs to do scheduling. I said, yeah, until you start throwing in all the requests and buts in there, that the system might quit. It might throw up a flag and just quit. Can you dare talk to this team about the position you're in and the opportunity you have to be playing in March if you can get the job done, or do you not dare go there?
We talk about being the best version of ourselves every day. We do talk, again, we're not afraid to talk about results. We're very, process driven, but we talk about what it would mean to host a playoff game, right? We talk about what it would mean to host the whole thing. So in order to do that, you got to keep winning. And we're not afraid to talk about that, knowing that on any given night, if you don't bring it, you can get beat. So yeah, we absolutely talk about having success.
Again, tough road ahead. You got the two Suniacs coming next in Brockport and Geneseo. Then you're home against Elmira, Keuka. Then on the road against Alfred and Houghton. I can never say that when I look at it. I can say it when I'm not looking at it. Then finishing it up against Hartwick at home. What's it mean to have a team on back-to-back seasons here playing as well as it is for a guy who I know has been pushing hard to have this program be successful?
It's meant the world to me and the coaching staff, and really just be a member of the Sage community. It starts with President Shaftel having his support, and to Jim Lyons, our director of athletics, Trish Lemmy, our vice president for student life, and the entire Sage community and Capital District as well. And the guys have been terrific, right? This has been an enjoyable group to coach. They're constantly in the gym, working on their game outside of practice, trying to get better. And it just feels special, like every single person that has a hand in this program wants to do what it takes to be successful. And that's been a great feeling.
You bring up Jim Lyons. We should be honest with everybody. He's my former soccer coach in college. And then I was his game management guy for his lacrosse. He was a dual coach for a long time, but stuck with lacrosse. He's worked his way through the system, now athletics director up there at Russell Sage. And he's a New Yorker. So it fits for him for sure. And Brian, you're a New Yorker. I assume that has a special part of it as well, right? Like doing this, the Albany area, you went to Albany. This is something that means more than just having a job.
Yeah, this is home to me. Sage is home to me. In 2008, we started the program the very first year of Division III. So this is our baby, and it absolutely means the world. And to have the backing of the athletic director, and just to watch Jim Lyons and where there's nothing he won't do to see his team succeed. He literally is doing the play-by-play and the announcing during certain games when we need that. It'll be the first one to come over after a win and slap your hand 3 times. So it's been fantastic, and it's just that atmosphere that's around Sage. Everybody looking to do what it takes to be successful.
I said this to Noah about his teammate. I'll say it to you. If Jim's in your office and he's telling you to read that, you can just blink twice. We'll send help. No, great thoughts for sure. By the way, I thought I had heard him on some broadcasts. I wasn't sure. I'll send some critiques. Brian, thanks so much for your time. Congratulations. I love talking about the Gators, which, by the way, that's the other great thing. Gators mascot in Albany. There's a book about mascots. You got to go read the history. Thank you for your time. Really appreciate it. Congratulations to the team. Good luck the rest of the way. Look forward to seeing how this Empire 8 finishes off, but you guys are having a tremendous season, and we wanted to shine that light on you. As always, we give the guests, though, the final word. Any final thoughts you want to share with those who may be tuned in?
Yeah, I want to thank the team. All right, as I said, the strength of our team is the team itself, the players, the coaches, the support staff, everybody around. Sage, and we're excited to make some memories moving forward, and I believe in each and every person in this program. So just thank you, and we hope to keep going.
Well said. Congratulations again. Good luck. Please stay in touch, and we'll look forward to catching up.
Absolutely. Thanks, Dave.
Brian Barnes joining us on the Hoopsville Hotline. Again, Gators are having an awesome season. Great pick by Ryan Winnable on Monday. By the way, we had already invited Russell Sage on, so I chuckled a little bit. I just forgot to mention on Monday's show that they were coming on. But congratulations to them. Looking forward. Again, this is a fascinating Empire 8 race. We're so used to talking about Nazareth and St. John Fisher. It's not them anymore, and it's a different Empire 8, and it's a fascinating one to watch, including on the women's race as well. We'll take another break. When we come back, we'll head to Immaculata, talk to the Mighty Macs about women's basketball and just how good their seasons are. And still ahead, Colorado College. We'll talk about the Tigers and their 6,000-foot advantage. You listen to Hoopsville, presented by D3Hoops.com. Back with so much more ahead.
It's on us to stop sexual assault.
In any way that we can.
To get a friend home safe.
To never blame the victim.
It's on us.
To stand up.
To make our community safe for all.
It's on us.
It's on us to look out for each other at parties.
It's on us.
To be more than just a bystander.
To step up and say something.
It's on us, all of us.
To stop sexual assault.
Learn how and take the pledge at itsonus.org.
We've got more schools than Division I, more fans than Division II, and more upsets than March Madness. There's nearly 850 programs with over 11,000 games leading to 2 national championships. And we've been covering it all for over 2 decades. From Eastern to Occidental, from Puget Sound to Piedmont, from Southwestern to the University of New England, and from Hope to Calvin. Nobody covers Division III basketball like we do. We're D3Hoops.com at www.d3hoops.com.
Comprehensive learning is being able to adapt to experiences and apply the things that I learned. Being an athlete and juggling academics helped me grow as a person, and things that I've learned, I was able to apply it in another field, putting them into everyday life. Developing comprehensive learning helped me prioritize certain things to make sure I get to where I want to be.
For the love of the game. But for those of us who are Division III student athletes, it's more than that, a lot more.
Sure, the game is important, but as we work so hard to build both mind and body, it's more about team.
That is why NCAA Division III teamed up with Special Olympics, and in giving the gift of sport to those for whom it seemed an impossible dream, we are working to make this a better world.
Help us keep that dream alive.
You can make a difference.
We are the coaches of women's basketball. We are leaders and teachers, dreamers and winners. We are professionals who conduct ourselves ethically and with integrity. We place the education, safety, and well-being of the athletes we coach above all else, and teach them the fundamental values they need to succeed in life. We are coaches united for the good of our game and those who play it. We are the WBCA.
I learned a lot of valuable lessons playing college football. I never thought about the health benefits of exercise until I actually started to talk to coaches in college. It's not only just for performance, it's for life. My coaches instilled the importance of well-being, not only building up strength, mental health, getting enough sleep, eating properly is all what it is to be healthy. I decided that I want to go into personal trainer and share my knowledge that I obtained in college about physical and mental well-being.
We are calling you, all of you. We are calling all Division III schools to join our cause.
It's on us to start the change. It's on us to be the change. It's on us. It's on Division III. It's on all of us to stop sexual assault.
It's on us to stop sexual assault.
In any way that we can.
To get a friend.
Oh, we let the ad go a little too far there. Welcome back, everybody. I'm your host, Dave McHugh. Some of the settings don't like to work either. That's supposed to kick right to me, and it never does. If you got questions for us, at D3Hoopsville or hashtag Hoopsville on it's on Instagram as well, but especially Twitter, but also Threads. We've got our threads up in case you want to ask us questions there. We're also on live streaming on youtube.com. That's where you're watching us, so you can use that chat stream if you want to. We'll jump in there and answer some questions. You can also email us, hoopsville at d3sports.com. That's hoopsville at d3sports.com. Switching to women's basketball, the Mighty Macs, which I love that mascot name, from Immaculata, are 14-3 this year, 6-0 in conference play. They're playing tonight at Marywood, which means this conversation we're about to have is pre-recorded, just for the record, before anybody wonders what in the world we've got going on. Like how in the world are we talking to a coach when she's actually on a bus? But point being is that Brittany Whalen's got a heck of a group running through things as they have strung together probably the best. Well, first off, they're coming off one of the best seasons in program history and now making this the best 2 seasons in program history. As an alum, you got to figure it makes her proud. But what's the whole story behind it, as it were? Because as you all probably can guess, there's always more to the story. And when you find out why Brittany is coaching this team, I think you're going to agree it was worth the price of admission. But what's making this team tick? What's making them so good? We talked to Brittany about it yesterday. Join us on the Hoopsville Hotline. It's the head coach of the Mighty Macs of Immaculata. It is Brittany Whalen. Coach, good to see you. Thanks for joining me on the show.
Thanks for having me, Dave. Appreciate it, and excited to get chatting with you about the team.
Yeah, I mean, this is a great season. Listen, last year was a great season. We shouldn't overlook the fact it was 22-4 last year, and unfortunately ended in the first round of the NCAA tournament against a pretty good Ohio Wesleyan squad, and it wasn't pretty. We'll talk about that in a bit, but you guys have rebounded from that, playing well, 14-3, perfect in the conference as we're speaking. As I mentioned in the intro, traveling to Marywood for a conference game today that was a makeup. You've got to be thrilled with how this team's recovered, because it's tough to duplicate what you did the year before.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, last year was such a memorable season, and it was so special. And with that group, it's something that we'll always remember. You know, you win a conference championship, that's something that stays with you for the rest of your life, and we get to kind of share in that. But, you know, as much as we hold that up in a special memory, it's a new group this year, and we have new goals and new ambitions. So I think we made that pretty clear from day one moving into this season. And, you know, we have a lot of new players on the team this year with 7 new freshmen. We graduated a heavy part of our lineup that, you know, girls that were very impactful on our team last year and helped us, you know, reach that goal of a conference championship and getting to the NCAA tournament. So, you know, just kind of rewiring that thinking and just having the same goal in mind, but pushing forward in new ways and welcoming our new players into the mix.
Quickly, again, that Ohio Wesleyan game, getting to the NCAA tournament, kind of a first-time experience for a lot, I realize, and unfortunately it ends 87-42. Yeah, I'm sure there was some licking of the wounds and hanging of heads after that, but as you said, there's a side of that of building the pride, right, and knowing, hey, we also hadn't lost since mid-December, and we got here. That's got to be the most important part, right?
Yeah, totally. I mean, so proud of that group of girls for what they did and accomplished season. To go 22-4 is really something special, and hats off to Ohio Wesleyan, just a tremendous team. They were extremely well coached, and to be able to bring our team and into that atmosphere and environment and just, you know, see a team, you know, with that caliber, how they play and how they move about and just the way they warm up. Like it's a really good experience for us as a program overall. Having been, that was I guess, second time in program history that we were in the NCAA tournament. So definitely, you know, rookie in a sense to that atmosphere. But just to, even with that loss to be able to take things from that and again see the way that these established teams operate and the things they do and how they go about it. So I think there was a lot of, lessons still learned from that loss, and that's all you can do, right? You just continue to try to build each year and bring the team together, improve as we go, and just take bits of those losses like that with us and again, just try to build on that.
Interesting enough, in conference, haven't lost a conference game since early February against Marymount in 2024. Yes, you lost to Newman in the conference tournament that year, but right after you had beaten them. But so conference game, you got to go back to Marymount in 2024 of February. It's interesting because this conference has been about Marymount. It's been about Gwynedd Mercy. But for the last 2 seasons, it has wholeheartedly been about Immaculata, but I feel like you're still kind of flying a little under the radar. Has that been helpful?
Yeah, totally. I think last year was really when we, made a name for ourselves and kind of flipped the script a little bit. Yes, Marymount has had some very successful seasons in the past. They've had some really good teams, great talent. So to be able to come back and again just make that kind of statement, and I think that opened a lot of people's eyes, at least in just the local area in our conference, obviously. And that's kind of the standard now moving forward. Like we know that we can be at the top of this conference, and we got to continue to work hard and maintain that. But I'm just so proud of where we're at this point. But at the same time, we're not settling yet. There's a lot of work still left to do, and we just got to keep grinding.
Looking back, you start this season with a win against Moravian, a team that you'd lost to last year in overtime. You beat them handily, 81-56. Great start. But what jumped out at me is your third games against Acadia. There is something about the Knights that you all do not like. You've now lost to them 3 times in 3 seasons, 5 times in a row, which I know probably dates back before you became head coach, but as an alum, you certainly know them. So the tongue-in-cheek question is, why do you keep scheduling them?
I mean, they have a great team every year. Obviously, they're very well coached, especially this year and even in previous seasons with Jackie Hartzell before she transitioned to Ryder. But just a talented group of players. Hannah Rhodes, Delaney Bell, they're seniors now, thankfully for us. But no, they're great players, and we seem to always have issues with them. But they're very dynamic players in the sense that they can shoot the 3 ball, but they can also take advantage. And this is what they did this year, but of our bigs hedging out too far and come off ball screens and drive to the hoop. So that's kind of where we lost it there. But it's always been, fun, competitive games between the 2 programs. And, we'll keep scheduling them every year. It's good competition. And anytime we can get that in non-conference, that's what we look for.
Man, that high screen, either pick and roll or open 3 dynamic, I see that in such a large portion of the women's game. That's really kind of the nexus, isn't it? It's that use your big to set a screen at the top if they can roll open, or you roll open to a 3 or a teammate. That dynamic is almost, I see it D1 too.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think it was, again, like I mentioned, they're very well coached. But, their coaching staff recognizing what we were doing on the ball screens defensively and just taking that into consideration and making a game plan or a game adjustment at halftime or going into the third quarter based off that. Because to start the game, we did build a little bit of a lead, but unfortunately, they stormed back and were able to adjust that. I mean, that was earlier in the season. And I know I mentioned we do have quite a bit of freshmen on our roster this year. 2 of which have stepped into really massive roles for our team. And, even just having them on the floor in tight game situations like that, I think in the beginning there was a learning curve and some things to kind of work through just to put them in those tight game situations and see how they react and see how they can handle that adversity. So I think there were some growing pains there in the beginning, but definitely have progressed a lot since then overall.
Yeah, interesting. 2 seniors, 5 or 7 freshmen. 4 days later, you play Salisbury with Keene in between. Yes, Salisbury was the second side of the Keene game. I said Keen there. It's Kane. What the heck was that
Yeah.
about?
It looks like Keen though.
I know,
from spelling.
and I know better. That's just the wildest thing to have slip out of my mouth. That's got a meme written all over it. So you get past Kane. Salisbury trips you up by 2 at their place. Point of bringing that up is that's 2 losses in 3 games. You've only lost once since then to Haverford on the road. To your point, teams figuring it out. Younger players are starting to figure it out. You're really kind of not dragging that momentum, but really rolling with that momentum at this point and playing well. It's got to be night and day difference.
Yeah, I think, the losses are tough. Obviously in the moment, you think what could we have done better, this and that, but truthfully, I think losses are necessary at times. I know I mentioned earlier there's so much you can learn from them. So really like going back and studying the game film, going through it with our coaching staff and even the players too. It's like, well, where did we go wrong or what do we need to adjust in order to ensure that doesn't happen again. And I think, our staff does a really good job of that. I think that game at Salisbury, that was it could have gone either way. I mean, we lost on a buzzer beater there. They're a very talented team and grateful for the opportunity that we got to play down at the Civic Center in an awesome tournament. But I think that was a hard fought game. And again, like definitely could have gone either way, but good competition overall. The Haverford game, we had just come back from a pretty long break. One of those games, I was a little bit disappointed in our overall effort and performance. We did not shoot the ball well. And at the same time, I thought we were kind of mentally in our heads because our offense wasn't quite there that day. We weren't playing as hard as we could have on the defensive end. So that in itself was a little bit disappointing. I thought we could have shown better effort, but after that loss, we really took that to heart, and it's something that we had deep conversations about with the team, and having to make sure that we make a valiant effort to turn the corner here and really turn it on with conference play coming up. And, luckily we were able to come out against Newman in our first conference game and just make a big statement. And so was super proud of the girls for being able to just turn it around and make that change. And, we're just trying to keep plowing forward here.
Interesting of this team. We talked again, 2 seniors, 7 freshmen. There's I think 3 sophomores and, 3 juniors and 3 sophomores. It's a mixed group at leading the way. You've got Carly Coleman as a sophomore at 17.6 points a game and 10.7 rebounds, double-double average. Also the leader in assists, roughly, it's 68 assists divided by 17, folks. You do the math. And leader in steals. So she's got it across the board, who's not much of an outside shooter, but shoots 47% from the floor. Then you've got a senior, and Olivia Etor, who's averaging 13.4, but she's the one who'll be your threat from outside. She's 103 attempts already and a 38% clip. And then it's another underclassman in Grillo. Etor, by the way, the senior. Grillo, Grillo. Geez, what did I make that one up for?
Yeah, Grillo. That's okay.
Yeah, I'm making up things here. The freshman, that's what I was trying to drive at. She's averaging 13 points a game, 5.5 boards, shooting 36%. It's an interesting trio there in terms of experience.
Yeah, totally. We are lucky to have some of our returners back. Obviously, Liv started for us last year, as did Carly, but we lost, 5 seniors, 4 of which were massive parts of our offensive production and our defensive end too. We had Reese Mullins, who was player of the year, 1,000-point scorer. Tessa Liberata-Scioli was the defensive player of the year. We lost Abby Boyer, our starting point guard, and then Alyssa Long off the bench, who was just a defensive menace to anyone, who came in her path. So we did lose a lot, but just seeing the progression and confidence rise in Olivia Etor from last year to this year. Carly Coleman, obviously she came in and was stellar as a freshman, but kind of stepping into a new role in just like overall leadership on the floor and off the floor as well. You know, both of them captains for us. Riley Cassidy, who came off the bench last year for us, is in a starting role now. So just having that return in leadership from those girls and putting them in positions to step into a bigger role, you know, was a big challenge from the beginning, but they've been doing a great job. And, you know, welcoming a group of 7 is no easy feat either. It's, you know, they're learning a lot, and, you know, they're coming from high school programs. So just getting used to the way we kind of do things here, and, you know, even on court, things to get used to, such as the shot clock, right? In the beginning, it was a big thing, you know, just that game awareness, how many seconds are on the clock, you know, smart possessions, what's a good shot. So I think that was something that we even had to like work through. But they've kind of they have been doing a good job of just meshing overall and figuring things out on the floor. And obviously that comes from experience, and, you know, the more you play, the more you get comfortable. But I think we're in a really good spot right now.
We should roll off the Coleman line there, because it is pretty impressive. 4.0 assists per game, 2.5 steals per game. She gets more than a block per game. It's pretty impressive. Interesting enough, too, you've got a couple of transfers, or at least at some point, you know, Riley Cassidy came in from Muhlenberg, and Meg Robbins came in from E-Town. So they come from pretty good programs, right? So the experience, you say, and then as you point out, not all high school levels have the shot clock. Everyone's got to figure this out. Not only figure out their new teammates, figure out the rules, figure out what we're going to do this year, figure out new roles, all that. And you're still having this kind of success. It speaks well to the program.
Yeah, and I think, I know you mentioned Carly's stat line there, just such an all-around player. I mean, someone who gives everything of herself every single day on the court. It's just, she's such a tough matchup, because she'll play, you know, our 4 position, but she can ideally play 1 through 5. So, you know, you put a bigger forward on her, she's going to beat them up and down the floor. You put a guard against her, she can use her height to kind of bully them down in the paint. So, you know, really nice player, and we're lucky to have her for sure. Leading on the court, you know, even if her offensive production isn't on one game, which it has been luckily for us recently, she's going to find other ways, whether it's, you know, gaining a couple steals, just being, you know, all in your face on the defensive end. But most consistently, she always rebounds the ball, and that is something that's huge, and, you know, extends possessions for us on the offensive end, and obviously takes away second and third chance opportunities on the defensive end. So I think that's definitely a huge thing overall.
You, again, an alum of Immaculata, graduated in 2015, came back for a handful of years as an assistant coach before then taking over as head coach following the 23 season. You've kind of seen this program in a lot of different places. As a grad, you saw 19 wins. You also saw 9 wins. As an assistant, you saw a lot of double-digit wins. You also saw single-digit wins. What's it like to see 22 wins last year and maybe marching yourself to another 20-win season this year? These are lofty levels for this program.
Yeah, just such a great feeling. I mean, the school means so much to me. Obviously, I was here for 4 years, 2-sport athlete, and, you know, I met a lot of my best friends during my time here, and nothing but good things to say. So being able to come back as an alum and be in a position to coach this program means so much to me. And I just want to see the success of the program and the school overall, and any way we can help to kind of continue to slowly build it and get Immaculata on the map. I think, you know, is a great thing. And the last few seasons speak volumes. And I think if, you know, our goal is to kind of, and I say our goal, but just myself, the coaching staff, and just even our players continue to build the program up and, you know, see that success and make sure our student athletes are having a great experience here, just as I did, just as my assistants did. So I think that is definitely a goal for us.
Again, first 20-win season last year since 1976. A couple of things I don't see in the bio that you've mentioned that I'm kind of curious about. First off, you came back to be an assistant coach through 2018. What did you do between 2018 and 2023?
So I actually worked in the occupational therapy field. We don't have full-time coaches at Immaculata, so I was a part-time coach when I first came back at the time with Chrissy Ryan. Um, it was a lot to do both. I worked in an inpatient rehab hospital setting, so um, great experience. I learned just the amount that I learned there, and just being in like those real life situations was incredible. And I feel that that part of my life was purposeful, and I was meant to do that for the number of years I did. Got to work with patients with brain injury, spinal cord injury, amputations. Really just like puts things into perspective. So I did that for 6 or 7 years, and then was kind of feeling like something was missing. I always loved basketball. I loved being a part of it. I loved coaching when I did, and I was definitely missing out at that time. And I guess it was the summer of 2023. I was really contemplating like I want to get back into it. I want to be a part of it. And at the time, the former coach had stepped down, and job posting went up for the position. And despite not having previous head coaching experience, which is, sounds crazy, I was like, you know what, I'm just going to apply and just try my best, give it my all, and see, what happens. But hopefully they can see, that I want what's best for the program, and I will put in any work that needs to be done to get us to that level, especially because I went here and I was a part of it. So I just like the level of care. I think that was a difference maker, and just grateful for the opportunity to be welcomed back into a head coaching role here. And that's kind of how that transition went.
That's amazing. By the way, as someone who had to go through a couple of back surgeries, including one that resulted in 2 weeks at the hospital because it didn't quite go to plan, I have all the respect in the world on occupational therapists. My plan changed 6 ways to Sunday, but they still got me back on my feet and at least out of the hospital door. And then they came to the house and helped me there. Folks, you cannot appreciate it until you've gone through it. The other side of it, what did you do as a second student athlete? I see the basketball mentioned, but I don't know what your other sport was.
Yeah, I played softball.
Oh, okay. Then that explains how you met your husband, Dan, as a baseball player.
Exactly.
Yeah. Now that totally adds up. Oh, that's awesome. Again, hats off on what you've all been able to accomplish and get to this program, get it back into the national conversation. Even if you're not in the top 25, there's so much to talk about, so many impacts. You're marching your way towards maybe another conference title and maybe another NCAA tournament appearance. So I tip my hat to you. Before I let you go and have you have the last word, I am curious, up ahead, as we're talking, you're on the way to go to Marywood. Then you're home against Newman and St. Elizabeth. Gwennet's still on the horizon. There's a lot of conference play. What's the message to the team other than play each game one by one? But what are you trying to get through their heads to get through the grind of what is the second half of AEC play?
Yeah, we just had a long discussion about it before practice yesterday. No complacency. That's when other teams, other opponents attack, and obviously it's been a great road to this point, but we're not finished yet. We still have, like you mentioned, a couple of really tough conference games ahead of us, and it's not going to be an easy feat. It's getting in the gym to get extra reps in outside of practice. It's staying in tune and being dialed in when you're here in the gym with us. Us coaches preparing our team the best we can for an upcoming opponent game by game. And we try to really make that game preparation the best we can so that they know it's very clear and concise. This is our goal going into this opponent. This is what we need from you on the floor. Everyone has their roles per game, and I think they do a good job of kind of understanding those roles game by game, and those can flip-flop depending on who we're playing. And I think, just really stepping into that role and executing it on the floor is going to be huge. So again, we can't stay too comfortable. We know we have a target on our back in the conference, being the only undefeated team. So definitely just having like a hard work mentality and just competing to win.
Yeah, a team like Marymount a game behind or Marywood 2 games behind, they're itching at a chance to get a little bit closer and knock off you all. Certainly truth in every conference, right? Appreciate it. Thanks for your time and the insight on the Mighty Macs, which is just a fun mascot, just for the record. Brittany, take care of yourself. Safe travels when you're on the road. Good luck in all your games. As always, though, we give the guest the final word. Any final thoughts you want to share with those who may be tuned in?
Yeah, I think with you guys over there, just to be able to recognize so many teams, players, coaches at the Division III level, and really recognizing those different accomplishments, whether it be number of wins, rankings, or even just like top of the conference, I think is truly something special. And especially our student athletes, they're the ones that deserve the most recognition. And at the D3 level, it's not easy balancing, academics, balancing sports, and maybe going against some adversity as far as like resources and whatnot. So I think just being able to highlight and promote that is something that's awesome. And you guys do a great job over there. So hats off to you. And let's just keep pushing for D3 hoops and making it known.
Great chat with Brittany there, Brittany Whalen of Immaculata. Again, her team's literally traveling today to Marywood for a game that needed to be made up. And so we had to record that chat with her. Otherwise, we've been chatting on a bus, and that doesn't always go well. They are headed up to Marywood. They're then home against Newman and St. Elizabeth following that. It's interesting. They have about a 50-50 split, 4-4, and alternating, but they will finish on the road at Marymount and Pratt to wrap up the regular season. That is a very good basketball team. It is fun to see them back in the mix. If I had one qualm, Immaculata, just one qualm, you're the Mighty Macs, and we don't have a logo that's not IU, which is a cool little logo, or the Dome of Immaculata. We got to get an athletics logo, okay, a true athletics logo. Just my own 2 cents. Not the 2 cents for today, but my 2 cents. Great to chat with her. Appreciate the time that she gave us. How about a great story about how she got the job, and now look at the success that she's having. Tip of the hat to her. We'll take another break. When we come back, we will switch gears and head out to Colorado Springs for another team that's traveling this weekend, Colorado College women's basketball. Another team that's having a tremendous season. They're atop the SCAC standings, and there's so much more to talk about. You listen to Hoopsville, presented by D3 Hoops. Coming up next, we'll be talking to Katherine Auguste.
Coach of the Year, Administrator of the Year, All-America Team, Wade Trophy. The WBCA doesn't just honor coaches, but players, administrators, and much more. The WBCA strives to honor those who have contributed to the advancement of women's basketball. Celebrate the present, honor the past, look to the future.
For the love of the game. But for those of us who are Division III student athletes, it's more than that, a lot more.
Sure, the game is important, but as we work so hard to build both mind and body, it's more about team.
That is why NCAA Division III teamed up with Special Olympics, and in giving the gift of sport to those for whom it seemed an impossible dream, we are working to make this a better world.
Help us keep that dream alive.
You can make a difference.
Something I discovered in myself is that if I have a goal, then I can accomplish it.
It's a well-rounded experience.
At a Division III school, you primarily a student athlete, so the school is really shaped around you developing yourself as a complete individual.
It helps a lot that you have a family with your team that can guide you.
The National Association of Basketball Coaches is the nation's premier professional development and advocacy organization for basketball coaches at every level. The NABC strives to serve as the voice for coaches on national issues while advancing the core value of leadership, service, advocacy, education, and inclusion. To learn more about the NABC and to become a member, visit nabc.com and follow the NABC on social media at NABC 1927. That's nabc.com or NABC 1927 on social media.
I believe sportsmanship is a mutual admiration and respect for your fellow competitors. We all go through a lot to reach the point where we compete against one another. It's important to realize that. So once we're finally on the field or on the court or on the starting block, we look at each other as fellow human beings and not just competitors. Being able to recognize the hard work that other athletes are putting in creates a more positive and inclusive environment.
Welcome back to Hoopsville, everybody. I'm your host, Dave McHugh. I'm doing this thing on the mic. I apologize to you audio listeners. I will try and work on getting rid of whatever that is that I am doing. If you've got questions for us, tweet us at D3Hoopsville, hashtag Hoopsville, email us hoopsville at D3sports.com. Join us on Facebook, facebook.com/Hoopsville. We're on Threads as well. We've got them all up trying to answer your questions. Also on the live stream, we're answering questions there. If you have them, send them our way. Switching gears, not really. We're still talking women's basketball, but heading out to the middle of the country to Colorado Springs, where Katherine Auguste's team at Colorado College is atop the SCAC, undefeated as such at 8-0, though Texas Lutheran is 7-0 on their side of the SCAC. But coming up this weekend, they'll be playing the Lutes. No, they're not the Lutes. That's Cal Lutheran, for the record. They'll be playing the Bulldogs. Prior to that, though, they got to play Concordia, Texas. Because of that travel, we talked to them yesterday about it. We talked to Katherine about the team, about the WBCA. We also talked about how different this SCAC is without Trinity, Texas. And she reminded us it's just as competitive. Joining us on the Hoopsville Hotline, it's the head coach in sunny, snowy, something, Colorado Springs. It's Katherine Auguste of Colorado College. Coach, good to see you. Thanks for taking the time. Appreciate it as always.
Thank you. I'm thrilled to be back with you, Dave. And honestly, it is sunny, it is snowy, it's everything, and very Colorado.
Yeah, very Colorado. I'm somewhat jealous, though out my window would look a little Colorado-esque as well, except for the weird sleet and ice and all that. As we mentioned, traveling at this point when this is airing, got that trip to Texas. You guys certainly, I hope, are getting frequent flyer miles in this conference.
We are indeed, and that is a key crucial thing. Got to sign up at the beginning of the year.
Yeah, you get a free trip every year, I'm sure. Listen, the team is playing well. I think that to some degree was to be expected. You're in this funky new SCAC we'll get to that doesn't have at least one of the behemoths that has stood around, but you've been one of those behemoths, 23-4 last year and 20-8 year before. 5 total losses in conference, with one of them being last year and none of them this year in the last 3 seasons. You all are playing well, but you're in the funky spot. Like, it's got to be tough, Katherine, to continue being consistent when you have the toughest travel in terms of time. You're at the farthest location. You're not around everybody else. Not that Texas is close either to each other.
Right. We really look at it as a great challenge and preparation for our eventual goals. If we are, lucky enough to earn our way into the NCAA tournament, we're battle tested. We're very much road warriors. We look to execute and keep our process no matter where we are. So it's just normal life around here. And we're very thankful to be, in a league that has great partners and cities to access. And so we hop on a plane in Denver. We land in Austin this weekend, play 2, and come straight back.
Yeah, play 2 there. And then, by the way, head the road again the next weekend with McMurray and Shrine. You might as well just stay in Texas.
I know, but class.
Oh, there's class. Right. Student. It's that part of Division III we like to worship and push and all that. Though you will finish with 4 at home. So while this is unfortunate that you've got 4 on the road and maybe dodged the big storm in the process of this that affected Texas, you at least get to stay home for the Final Four. It's kind of a yin-yang pro-con thing.
Yeah, absolutely. We love our game day routine at home, our crowd, our support, the families that, you know, are able to get here or support from afar. So it will be great to get back in our rhythm at home, but then we'll be very eager to hit the road for the SCAC tournament as well.
And the big painted wall that reminds everybody what the elevation is and i.e. low air.
Yes, very much.
I'm curious, not to dwell on that, but do your players notice it when you do go elsewhere that's more at sea level or at least significantly lower, that they've got better stamina as a result?
Yes, they love it. They are so thrilled to go to sea level and just feel like they can run for days. So definitely a real thing, the whole training and, you know, your day-to-day being at altitude.
What's interesting, not to dwell on it too much, is 2 of your losses were at home, 2 of your losses on the road. The first one right out of the gate against Hope at their place. I'm sorry, no, that was at Calvin at the Van Noort Arena.
Yep.
Your other one on the road was the next game that you lost at in Oregon against Pacific the day after playing Puget Sound. That went double overtime. And then the other 2 losses are at home against St. Benedict and Hardin-Simmons. Honestly, the only bad loss there is the Pacific one, just in terms of records at this point. You seem like I know you're isolated, so you have to go somewhere to play, but you seem willing to really go places and play while at the same time welcoming non-conference opponents to your place.
Yeah, we've always been lucky to be supported in seeking out really the best competition we can find nationally. So I was absolutely thrilled when Calvin and Hope approached us about opening at their place. And when Michelle at Whitman said she would bring her team out to play here. And when Wartburg came out and Hardin-Simmons, I mean, we truly seek to cultivate a schedule that is preparing us for the level we want to be at nationally. And we're learning and we're growing and we're a very new team from last year. And I'm really happy with our trajectory as we've grown against those really quality opponents, all of them.
Did you have to consider, hey, we're no longer playing Trinity. We have to supplement this schedule in some way to add, I don't want to say blue chip, but another type of program that's going to help our resume a little more?
You know, it's a good question, and I can see where that would be a thought. But honestly, last year, McMurray Sweet 16 team, TLU in our conference, NCAA team. And so our conference is plenty stacked, actually, in the SCAC. It's more just the pattern and the path we've put ourselves on. Honestly, in the 10 years I've been here, that's just been, you can't be the best eventually unless you play the best and learn from the best, and kind of raise your own standard every year. So I love how our team approaches those type of games and the belief they have. So no, I wouldn't say it was a replacement. We definitely have always appreciated the rivalry with Trinity. But no, it's just about the best holistic schedule we can find.
You played nearly a third of your schedule just in the month of November. 7 games between the 14th and the 30th with 2 road trips, 1 to Michigan and 1 to Oregon. And then when we got to December, we took a long break off and played only 3 games. Katherine, I love you, but you seem a little crazy.
It was a really good trial by fire. I mean, we have a young group in a lot of senses, right? Even, you know, our returning point guard, Andy Will, freshman of the year in the conference 4 years ago as a senior now, after some just injuries and things that kept her out the last 2 years, right? She's back and crushing it. But right, like that's in her 2nd year of college basketball. Like we needed to just dive in and get everybody up to a high speed really quickly. And so Andy being one example, but everybody having their own path with that. So December to us is a time as a staff where we know our team at that point. We have a huge body of work, as you just indicated, and we could really start tweaking and retooling and resetting based on who we are, not on who the opponent is. So definitely intentional, somewhat what works out scheduling wise, but we love December being very about us and starting to play our best basketball, hopefully January, February.
Interesting. Yeah. 4-3 in that opening 7, 9-1 since December onward, not counting November. If we really wanted to, you could go 10 of 11 wins. Yeah, very different dynamic, and obviously slammed a bunch of games in there against Hope, Calvin, Aurora, Puget Sound, Pacific, St. Benny, and Whitman before eventually settling in, as you said. Conference play is obviously the most important. Again, yes, McMurray, TLU, we've seen some really interesting teams emerge. Even St. Thomas for a blip there from this conference. And yeah, Trinity gets the headlines, right? Because they've been the powerhouse, and of course they leave and they're having their own interesting season. What is the SCAC about this year? Obviously, it's still split into two. You're 8-0 in conference games. Texas Lutheran 7-0. Austin 6-2. Hendricks 5-3. McMurray's 5-2. Like, it certainly seems pretty darn competitive. But what's it like on the court? What's it like when you're preparing?
I think it's very scrappy play, high skill level, great coaches across our league, and just games that can never be assumed or taken for granted. I think, right, like we had a crazy tough, good to the wire game against Hendricks, and that was a really fun one, a first opportunity to play them and to open at their place. Like Austin had a great game and game plan against us here a few weeks back. And so we just try to take everything one game at a time in terms of preparation. And yes, of course, with some of these quick turnaround weekends, we're absolutely preparing for both opponents at the same time. But in the moment, like, we're narrow focus.
Yeah, you got an interesting one coming up this weekend. You're 5-11 Concordia, followed by 12-4 Texas Lou. And then the following weekend, you're up against 11-4 as of now, McMurray. And then following that one up, you've got Schreiner, who is 3-14. You've got a mixed bag, and, you know, in my world, we call it trap games, where either you're overlooking one opponent because the next one up, or you're overlooking that opponent because you just got done with a grind. How do you keep everybody mentally focused? I know it's game by game, but how do you keep them focused on not looking at a team and going, oh, well, they weren't as good as the one we are or will or just did or will be playing?
Yeah, we just talk about it really transparently. And I mean, a lot of the voices in practice are not just our staff. And I mean, gosh, I'm the luckiest coach. Like, Lisa Gould has been coaching with me for 9 years. Drew Mitchell's been with us for 2. They're both incredible and lead massive segments of our program in their own rights. And then we collaborate really well. But the main voices are our players. And I mean, from first years to seniors, we do not care what age you are. If you have something to contribute and you have a way to keep us locked or to refocus on some area, like, say it. It's going to make everybody better. So that's very much our vibe, like, not hierarchical, and just anybody who's right on the right path and wants people to follow them, let's go.
Tell me a little bit about this squad. If you look at it from a statistical point of view, at least on paper as a team, nothing just jumps out. And that's not necessarily a negative. 12th in the nation in defensive rebounding. You're shooting the ball 40%, but you're keeping your opponents at about 35. 3-point shooting for everybody is not great. 30% for yourselves, 26 for your opponents. Free throw shooting's pretty solid. Rebounding, okay, +4. What is it about this group, though, that's getting it done? 2 players in double figures, and we'll talk about them, but what is it about the team that's getting it done that's working so well on the court?
You hit it on the head. I think this team is very, very selfless, and they know that any given day, numerous people can step up and carry the workload or be the one to really make a high impact on the court in those game moments. But then they all approach off the court, like, or in practice, like, hey, like, we are getting ready for this weekend. And so it's very, very shared load and very much mutual respect between all of our players. Like, there is no, like, we rely only on Kayla hitting the 3. We rely only on Raina going to work in the post, right? It's very, hey, who can we get the ball to that's hot right now, and who's getting doubled, and where's the kick going to be from? So we just talk a lot about, like, what's the best shot, and we are absolutely not there yet, but we're progressing every single week in that.
You got Kayla leading the way, 14.3 points a game, shooting 44% from the floor, 33 from beyond the arc, 85% free throw shooter. And then you have Raina Welsh, 13.8 points a game, rebounding 6.3. And then she shoots 58% and 79% from the free throw line. That's a duo in itself. And, of course, Issa Nelson at 9.2 and Addie Will at 7.1, who are decent shooters. But what blows me away is there's no one who really stands out rebounding. Kernick gets 6.4. Welsh gets 6.13. Everybody's distributing the ball. The leader is Will with 47, but everybody's got significant numbers. Steals, everybody has significant numbers. Like, it's an interesting dynamic where, other than the scoring points, there's nobody that you just point to and go, oh, that's the one I'm going to be paying attention to.
Yeah, I've never coached or been around really a more balanced team. And so part of that is us trying to figure out our identity holistically, individually, but day by day. Again, who's on in the moment? Who can we rely on? We're not afraid to switch things up. And even right now, slide people around in different positions within the offenses and the quick hitters we've been running. Now it's like, okay, how can we take advantage of what people are doing defensively and really set ourselves up for success, right? Without adding 10 million new things, because that gets challenging as well at this time of year. But the team's doing a really great job. They just come in ready to work every single day, and they know it's the little things, and they know we're good enough. Like, this team believes, and it's been really, really fun to coach them. Like, they are so adaptable. They just go with whatever we say on the fly. They come to the table with suggestions, and like, they work their butts off, and they really, really love each other. So it's just fun.
Is this an offensive-minded team or a defense? His offense is 64.5 point or a third a game. The defense is 56.5. I mean, we can dive into this 6 ways to Sunday. Yeah. I can't tell statistically. I would lean towards defense.
I think defense is what we have hung our hat on this year, but like, offense, like anybody, excites the heck out of us. I mean, we spent a lot of time looking at our evolving transition game in the last couple weeks, and I think the team is really starting to see, like, oh my gosh, like the translation of good defensive plays, 2 quick scores, and all of that, right? So things are very much still coming together for us. I don't know that I can completely say we're offense or defense, but we rely on defense and we have fun with offense.
There you go. And that's not a bad way to do it. I don't mind that. 3 seniors, 4 juniors, 2 sophomores, and a whole mess of freshmen. Yes. You pull in from, I think I checked something like a dozen different states, maybe less, give or take. Texas, California, Mass, Tennessee, Nevada, Illinois, Minnesota, Wisconsin. You pull in from a lot of places. We should remind everybody, this is a pretty academic minded school. We've got psychology, neuroscience, molecular biology majors. This is no joke of an institution.
It's true. They are incredible students. And one of the things I was absolutely most proud of in the last 12 months was that our team earned the #1 GPA for women's basketball in Division III last season. And I remember
that's amazing.
Nike TOC recruiting and getting that text that, like, hey, this is going to come out. And I was like, oh my gosh, like, they really are just incredible students, people, teammates, the whole thing, right? And they have fun, right, through all of it. I think, yeah, there's very challenging days, but they have their priorities straight. They're good communicators. It's really fun to be around. Very inspiring, honestly.
Best GPA when you're considering what else is in this division, the UAA and the NESCAC and the NUMAC and the Centennial and the LAM. That's saying something. SCIAC, I shouldn't overlook the SCIAC or other many institutions. I know you're not looking ahead to Texas Lutheran technically, but the rest of us are. But we're also looking at the Concordia game because, again, back to my comment about a trap game. What are you expecting from these two this weekend?
Yeah, I mean, I'm expecting us to be consistent across the board. I'm expecting switch ups between zone and man. And so us really needing to be like nimble and adjusting on the fly with both teams, to be honest. I'm expecting a little bit of full and half court pressure. So it's really made practice interesting this week because it's like, okay, we have a lot to get through. We have a very little time to do it. We want to be cognizant of rest and being sharp and legs and all of that. So we've just done our best to minimize to 90 minutes and to be really efficient. And we're going to hit the road, we hope, both rested and with the reps that we need to go in and have success against both teams.
We should point out you are now a member of the WBCA board as a representative of Division III. Gives you a unique opportunity to see things from a national perspective as a former student athlete and an assistant coach at D1 and 3, now a head coach, not now a head coach, but have been for 10 years, darn it, at Division III. What kind of opportunity is this, and what are you expecting, not to accomplish, that's not a great way of saying it, but what are you hoping to gain and provide and give in this role?
Yeah, it's a massive opportunity and a great responsibility, and I feel very lucky to have been appointed to the board of directors. The people I am surrounded with in terms of the administration of the WBCA, the other coaches from all the levels, high school, 2-year college. I mean, every level, right? It's incredible to put those 30-ish people in the same room. In my first board meeting in Atlanta last year, I was just blown away by the ideas, the conversation, everything. And so my goal is just to really contribute and to give perspective and to work in any way possible to be a help. Basketball, women's basketball at all levels is just such an amazing product. And I think we're in this era of incredible growth, despite division, and really leaning into that. So our product at Division III is amazing. What our counterparts at D2 offer, amazing. What Division I is doing, fabulous. And so I think the synergy between everyone on the board is something I'm really looking forward to leaning into and to supporting.
Katherine, the only one that matters is Division III. Right? We don't care about the others. Yeah, that's no. To that point, and to the point that this is kind of this era of opportunity at the Division III or at the women's side of things. What can you all do at the WBCA, et cetera, to get it a little bit more forthright? For lack of a better word or a description, I saw a tweet today about the new season of Ted Lasso coming out. It focuses on what appears to be a storyline of him coming back and taking over the women's program at that same place. And the amount of comments of like, I didn't turn this on for that, ticked me off that I had to go away. And I know there's idiots out there, but how does this organization take advantage of the opportunity or the resources it has? And I mean the student athletes, the teams, et cetera, and push this, it's just as damn good forward and improve things?
I think the WBCA is doing an amazing job of staying in the primary lane of like, we as an organization support coaches. And so from resources to mentorship to networking to, like Q&A, instructional. I mean, there are so many ways that like, as coaches, we go through seasons and up and downs, right? And we have teams that are struggling and we have teams that are absolutely crushing it. And we have a million issues as humans in our own right. And so the WBCA does a really great job of like, if we can support our coaches, the mentorship trickles down to the student athletes, to the product, right? And then I won't even profess to know all of the different areas, right? Our board has their hands in. I'm such a new member, but it's really incredible to just see the promotion of women's basketball, full stop, and by so many accomplished people.
Oh, great perspective. I appreciate that. It is about the coaches from the Coaches Association. They can't solve it all, and it's smart to figure out what works and stick in that lane and push that while others handle other aspects of it. Katherine, appreciate your time. Would love to chat with you a whole lot more, but eventually you do have to get on a plane, and I do have to do other things. But thanks for joining us. I appreciate it. Great to chat now 2 seasons in a row. You should probably know this is coming, but as always, we give the guests the final word. Any final thoughts you want to share with those tuned in?
Thanks a ton for having me, Dave. Really just everyone, please go find the good basketball near you. I mean, just come sit in the gym and watch the student athletes do their thing. It is so much fun. It's such a craft. And I'm really genuinely enjoying watching my team grow this year. And so I hope anybody can find that, locally, whether you're a coach or not, a fan already or not, just go get in a gym because it's some great stuff.
Great point by Coach there at the end. Get to a gym, go see a game. If you can't, join a web stream. We'll talk about that in a minute. But get to a gym, go enjoy a game. And by the way, just sit there and enjoy it. You don't have to comment about officiating. You don't have to comment about fouls. Just enjoy the game. I've enjoyed games more just sitting and watching. I'm going to Houston this weekend, and I already looked. Can I get to a game even though I don't have a rental car? I can't. St. Thomas is out of town, and no, I can't get to where they're playing. And Mary Hardin Baylor, not that they're close to Houston, but I could maybe make something work. They're out of town too. So no luck on my end on being able to see maybe a couple of teams that I've seen Mary Hardin Baylor before. I haven't seen them at their place, and I haven't seen St. Thomas, and I haven't seen them at their place. So unfortunately, that fell through. But get to a gym, go see a game. We'll come back. News and notes, 2 cents. We'll again explain the Gettysburg garb and what you can do to get me to wear some of your garb. Coming up, we got to be quick with it, though, because I've got dad duty, and I still got to do that. And I got to pack for my trip, and I got a late game tonight. Got to prep for that, too. You listen to Hoopsville, presented by D3Hoops.com. If you got last-second questions or anything, join us on the YouTube stream. You can also email us, hoopsville at D3Sports.com, or join us on Twitter at D3Hoopsville or other social media avenues. Will try and answer your questions. You're listening to Hoopsville, presented by D3 Hoops. Back with more after this.
We've got more schools than Division I, more fans than Division II, more upsets than March Madness. There's nearly 850 programs with over 11,000 games leading to 2 national championships. And we've been covering it all for over 2 decades. From Eastern to Occidental, from Puget Sound to Piedmont, from Southwestern to the University of New England, and from Hope to Calvin. Nobody covers Division III basketball like we do. We're D3Hoops.com at www.D3Hoops.com.
The National Association of Basketball Coaches is the nation's premier professional development and advocacy organization for basketball coaches at every level. The NABC strives to serve as the voice for coaches on national issues while advancing the core value of leadership, service, advocacy, education, and inclusion. To learn more about the NABC and to become a member, visit NABC.com and follow the NABC on social media at NABC 1927. That's NABC.com or NABC 1927 on social media.
It's on us to stop sexual assault.
In any way that we can.
To get a friend home safe.
To never blame the victim.
It's on us.
To stand up.
To make our community safe for all.
It's on us.
It's on us to look out for each other at parties.
It's on us.
To be more than just a bystander.
To step up and say something.
It's on us, all of us.
To stop sexual assault.
Learn how and take the pledge at itsonus.org.
If I lose, I'll respond with respect.
If I win, I'll back it up with humility.
If I fail, I'll rise up with honor. It's tough for us to put it all on the line.
Don't undo my hard work with poor sportsmanship.
Respect. It's the name of the game.
Coach of the Year, Administrator of the Year, All-America Team, Wade Trophy. The WBCA doesn't just honor coaches, but players, administrators, and much more. The WBCA strives to honor those who have contributed to the advancement of women's basketball. Celebrate the present, honor the past, look to the future.
Welcome back to Hoopsville, everybody. I may have cut off the WBCA ad there a little bit earlier. I apologize, but thanks to the Women's Basketball Coaches Association for their assistance with our programming. And great to chat with Katherine Auguste there just a moment ago about her role on the WBCA board. So many great coaches have been members of that WBCA board. Certainly become a member of your Coaches Association. It is important, to say the least. By the way, fun tweet came out while we were talking to Katherine. Aaron says, so much fun to hear her, clearly her daughter's future coach, speak about the amazing season. Again, they were on the road. So was Immaculata. That's why we recorded those earlier. Illinois Wesleyan, Russell Sage, men's basketball earlier in the show. Those were live. Go back and listen to them afterwards. Don't do it now. We got some news and notes to get through, some 2 cents to get through as well, et cetera, et cetera. Again, last call for questions. If you have any, email us, hoopsville at d3sports.com. Join us in the live stream on YouTube. There's a chat there. We know Dice Canton's been tuning along. Also, buymeacoffee.com/Hoopsville or use the QR code on the bottom of your screen so you can become a Hoopsville member. My ballot is out. Speaking of which, we'll tweet that out in a bit. I have a tweet ready for that. I did not email that to everybody. I wasn't sure if that's how they want it. If you do want it emailed to you, and you're a Hoopsville member, let me know, and I'll change it. I'll go back to that. But it's out. I had a lot to write this time because I removed 5 teams after last week removing 4 teams. None of those teams returned, so it's 9 brand new teams in the last 2 weeks in my top 25. You do the math. That's a third. So anyway, lots to go through. And buymeacoffee.com/hoopsville is also where you can see live and early access the top 25 double take show on Monday evening. So next week, we're probably going to do it on Tuesday. And we had the national committee chairs there for a week, early access to Hoopsville members. That is now out and starting to gain some attention. Great conversation with the committee chairs. We're going to talk to them again in February. Information to come. We're finalizing the details. Remember our top 16 show the last 3 years. We'll talk more about what that will be in February. All right, news and notes. Got this at the beginning of, or right before the show. Ryan Scott bumped into this. University of Maine, Fort Kent. University of Maine, Augusta. Yes, I'm from the state. Augusta have both applied to become members of Division III. You might remember that Fort Kent did this. If you follow this stuff, you might remember they applied a few years ago, but they were the 5th application D3 received. They have a moratorium of 4 schools that can join Division III in a year. And of those first 4 that applied, none of them were deemed not valuable members or shouldn't join. So they accepted those 4, and Fort Kent was left out. They were planning to join the North Atlantic Conference, the NAC. So that kind of dissolved. And I stayed with it for a few years trying to go, okay, are they applying this year? Are they applying this year? And I kept getting told, no, but they're friends with UMPI. By the way, it's the University of Maine Presque Isle. We think they're going to join, but they're trying to do some other things, blah, 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 blah. Well, apparently they're coming, and they're coming with Augusta, and both of them will join the NAC. And this makes sense because now UMPI and Fort Kent can be grouped together. And I'm trying to call up where they are on a map if you've never seen this. So Fort Kent and UMPI, Maine Presque Isle, can be grouped together in the NAC, and Augusta and Maine Maritime can be grouped together as travel partners. It's perfect. I'm going to do directions to Maine Augusta because it's just going to be easier that way, because then we kind of see where everything is. A little tricky here. I'm trying to call it up. Bear with me. Where is my setting for this? Here it is. Yep. I'm going to have to take down the graphic briefly here. So what is going on? Oh, I lost the directions. Oh my Lord. Maine, Maine. I guess I had to keep the system up there. So bear with me. So here we go. There you see it. We'll zoom in a little bit here. Well, not too far. I got to be careful. So Maine Fort Kent is way up here, folks. It is at the very northern, here's the border, very northern reaches of the state of Maine. And if you want to have reference, Presque Isle is down here. If you're watching the screen, I apologize for the use on the podcast. Presque Isle is southeast of Fort Kent on the Maine border on the eastern side, at the very northern part of the state. That's where Fort Kent is. Augusta's dead center of the state. They are, for the record, 5.5 hours apart. Oh, I actually have the wrong one. Sorry about that. I've got the Sacco Center for Maine Augusta. That is wrong. Let's see here. There we go. That's a little bit better. So they're 4 hours apart. That makes sense. 4.5 hours apart. If you're watching us on the stream, I'm going to move this slightly. Maine Maritime is straight. Let's call it southeast, east-southeast of Maine Augusta in the Rockland area, in the Camden Rockland area. That's where Maine Maritime is. So that makes sense. Augusta and Maine Maritime get teamed up, and then Presque Isle and Fort Kent would get mixed up. I've been told this was coming for a while. Fort Kent they've got a nursing program, and they get applicants from California to go there, and they have other programs. So this makes sense. Who else is in the mix to join Division III next year and will be approved of that? We don't know. Membership committee meets this month. I think the deadline used to be around the convention center time. There was also a time when it was in February, so I've lost track of exactly when the timing is. But we get up to 4 members. If we start to see an influx of that, I think they're going to have to tackle that. We'll see what happens. But yeah, so interesting development there. Another one that's news and notes within the division, Heidelberg women's basketball. This story is not going away. We talked about it in December. The women's basketball coach alleged by members of the team that are apparently, from best I can tell, still playing on this team, by a lawyer, alleged a pattern of verbal and emotional abuse. This is according to WTOL 11. By Aaron Eaton. This was again reported back in early to mid-December. Several members of the Heidelberg players, and I'm reading from the website, and families publicly demanded Eaton's firing and called on an NCAA to investigate as they described the culture of verbal, mental, and emotional abuse within the program. This took place last March. This first started last March when a lawyer representing these players and families sent a letter to the school. And to be honest with you folks, this isn't abnormal that parents get involved in coaches being fired at schools, rightly or wrongly, for cause or not for cause. I'm not getting into that. But the letter was pretty damning from Martin Greenberg in Milwaukee. It has, since that story came out, apparently more athletes have come out. Now, at that time of the letter it came out, her previous school was Muskegon. Apparently, some student athletes and families there had similar claims. Now, more have come out from that institution and at her previous one before that, which was Pitt Greensburg, which, for note, is the only school she's had a modicum of success at. She had, if memory serves, the only winning season in her career there. Give me a moment to double check that. I had this in my notes earlier, but I've misplaced it. So she's an Elmira grad of 05 in her 12th season. So first year at Pitt Greenberg, 8-17, second year, 10-16, 11-15, third, 14-12, her fourth year. So she had 2 of these, 18-10, her fifth year. So 14-12, 18-10, then 10-16, 9-16. She leaves for Muskegon, 3-21, 1-10 during the COVID year, 10-15 the third year. Then she goes to Heidelberg, 3-22, and they're now 1-17. So here's what I bring that up. This case goes on. They are calling on, Heidelberg initially said in their press release, and this is what I found fascinating, they did an investigation, internal or external investigation, and they found that there were no NCAA violations. Okay, but that opens up a lot of doors. There could be state violations, local community violations, there could be federal violations, there could be institutional violations. They don't mention those, and I found that fascinating. It involves Eaton's boyfriend and or husband. I've lost track if it's a boyfriend or husband, but it's her partner. Oh, here he is. A boyfriend speaking directly to players behind closed doors. These are audio tapes that WTOL 11 heard. Dad ain't happy right now. I've got $4,000 invested in this program and no one's said thank you. The Heidelberg statement in November to WTOL 11, which hadn't reported yet, they were doing their due diligence. University recently concluded an extensive external review of complaint involving our women's basketball program and athletics administration. The investigation found no violations of NCAA policies or laws. Now, or laws could have been doing some heavy lifting there, and they didn't clarify it, so it sounds like it's only NCAA based. So from there, Melissa Andrews and the reporters went a little bit further, and after this was released, the attorney said the abuse allegations have expanded, and now there's more push for Heidelberg to fire Eaton. Heidelberg responded to that. This was last week. In a statement, the university said it did not comment on specific claims. It rejects assertions. It ignores concerns or neglected hiring. The quote goes on to say, now the university said the review found no violations of NCAA policy or state or federal law. it still leaves open. Was there any policy broken by the that's an institutional policy? Like, that's my problem with this is I don't know what's right or wrong. We're hearing from one side and Heidelberg saying nothing. And I'm going to get to that in a minute. But what Heidelberg is saying isn't covering everything. What about Heidelberg policy? And what I'm finding fascinating about this case is it seems pretty damning from what we're hearing. And I know there was a question I heard recently, like, well, why is this ongoing? Like, what's the end game here? She's still hired. And it's a coach that's won 4 games in the past almost 2 seasons. There isn't necessarily a financial gain here. Heidelberg's not necessarily going to shell out thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars. But clearly people want her fired. And I find that fascinating that Heidelberg has dug in its heels, and I mean this bluntly. They've dug in their heels on a coach that's won 4 games in the last 2 seasons for their program that they hired to come in to be successful for their program. A program, I may add, has not won double-digit victories since 2015-16 under Morgan Harrigan, about midway through earlier half of her career, of her time there. They haven't had an above 500 record at Heidelberg in women's basketball in quite some time. I went 25 years back and I haven't found one yet. Here we go. 17-10 in 2002-2003. The year before that, they were 13-13. In 2000-2001, they were 17-9. Another winning season, a couple of them in 93-94 and 92-93 under Karen McConnell. Those were the other 2 as well, by the way. 27-6 under McConnell in 89-90. 18-9 and 88-89. But my point being is they haven't had double-digit wins since 2015-16 when they were 10-17. They haven't been above 500 as a program since 2002-03 with Karen McConnell when they were 17-10. And yet their men's program has shown competitiveness in the last few years. So here's my question to Heidelberg. Why are you digging in your heels? These are pretty damning allegations. I don't know how accurate there are other than they seem to be growing and they seem to be consistent from 3 different institutions. And by the way, I got questions from Muskegon and Pitt Greensburg. I talked about that in December. It's mind-blowing to me that there are complaints about a coach, and if they were made to an administration, why those don't follow a coach as they are trying to be hired elsewhere. It happened at Swarthmore with the women's coach who had a Title IX investigation for some horrid things up at Vassar. And I'm not going to redo that. You can go back and watch that show. But why is Heidelberg digging in their heels on a coach that's won 4 games in 2 seasons and only 1 this year? I don't get it. I don't get this. I don't know if it's right or wrong. If they really think nothing's going on, then this is a wild story amongst players who seem to be still playing for her. Like, I can't, what's the advantage of making this up and paying for a lawyer? Now, if it's parents who are just dead set on getting a coach fired, I've seen that. Fine. But you wouldn't have multiple players and others coming out in other schools. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's where this is kind of wonky. And then I don't understand why Heidelberg's digging in on a coach that's clearly not successful. It's giving Heidelberg a bad light. It's not helping Division III very much, so it hasn't caught on nationally as much as I thought it would. It's just weird. I do not understand this. At Swarthmore, eventually coach slinked out the door, and I'm not naming her because I don't want to give her any more attention. Unfortunately, she was a terrific basketball player at the Division III level. But she slinked out the door. Swarthmore quietly let her go at the end of the year as she resigned, or whatever you want to do. It cost the AD his job, whether they want to admit it or not. He went on to McDaniel as an interim AD and eventually left there. He was trying for a job somewhere else, and I don't think he got it. I know he was in the running for my alma mater and then backed out of that job. He wasn't going to get that. It had nothing to do with any of this. So Swarthmore kind of buried it, but that was also part of Swarthmore starting to change its colors again in terms of who they wanted to be as an athletics department. So again, just wild to me, this story, and we'll continue to follow it. So here, just for coverage, so you're open on this, I've debated how I wanted to cover it, if I wanted to cover it, and maybe do a special spinoff. I could invite the lawyer on, but we know what we're going to hear from the lawyer, right? We're not going to hear anything different than I want to call them WTOP. That's a local radio station in the DC, Baltimore area. WTOL. We're not going to hear anything different than what's been reported there and that they've sent out in releases. Same with Heidelberg. They're not going to come on camera and talk about it, and they're certainly not going to say anything more than they've done. If they're not going to go in front of WTOL's cameras, they're not coming in front of mine. So I did reach out to WTOL and the lead reporter on that story. Unfortunately, she is now tied up with another case. Not that they're ignoring the Heidelberg story by any stretch of the imagination, but she is tied up with a very important story out there. And so she's not able to come on. We'll stay in touch with her. If this story develops and continues to go in a different direction and still is not resolved and things have settled with her and she can come back, we'll find a way to get her on and talk with her about it so that we can get her perspective, having heard all these sides, on what's really going on here. Other news and notes, obviously great games coming up this weekend. Stick to d3hoops.com. You just go to the scores section to find out what's going on. The UAA's got some bonker games. NYU is still marching their way towards the record. They're at 78. So at the end of this weekend, weather permitted, because games are in New York, got a nor'easter that's toying with the coast right now. They could be at 80 and a game away from breaking the record. They play Case Western and Carnegie Mellon this weekend. That gets flipped, and they head the road to play those two the following weekend. That's why I think this is a little tenuous of a 4-game stretch for NYU, but they could, in 2 weekends' time, have that record broken. So keep track of that. Great links online at d3hoops.com for all your game feeds. One other thing that we touched on last show, we'll talk about it now. The American Rivers Conference has announced that their postseason, their tournaments, will be pay-per-view on Hudl. WIAC has announced this previously as well, as some conferences dip their toes in the water of pay-per-view without going full on board with either Hudl, who, by the way, has always had that program available. I've talked to him about some of that for different things, or with Flow. And I'm worried we're getting lazy as a division. I'm not worried we're getting lazy as a division. I'm seeing signs we're being lazy as a division. This is such an in-depth one that I'm going to have to find a better way to do it in the future. But I have talked to a number of individuals in different conferences and at different schools, both for and against pay-per-view for web streaming. I have been part of that conversation. Wow. 15 years, maybe more. I consulted at Messiah. They used to be a pay-per-view school individually. And I think I've talked about this before. They would pay-per-view their regular seasons, and then postseason, the conference dictated they couldn't do it, and the NCAA, you can't do it. And I talked to their athletics director at the time and sports information director, and we discussed these things. And I said, well, how much money are you making? And the number was stunningly low, considering they have 2 top-notch soccer programs at the very least. And, of course, basketball was pretty good too, but soccer still is kind of the behemoth there. And I said, you can do better not being pay-per-view. And they did. So they went away from pay-per-view. They went and started up the Falcon Network, and essentially alums and anybody else can donate to the cause. Franklin and Marshall's done this and several others. And they brought in more money exponentially compared to the pay-per-view, improved their web streaming, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I bring that up because, and by the way, they couldn't even pay-per-view probably what were going to be some of their biggest events, and that was like conference tournament and NCAA tournament games. So I bring that up with the understanding that I get where some of these conferences are coming from on the conference tournament level. There are production costs usually brought in by the individual hosting schools. You are charging usually an entrance fee to get into the game, the adage being we should charge a fee to broadcast it too. I get that argument. It's a fair argument. It's probably the fairest argument I've heard for why you would charge for games. I will come back with this. I don't think anybody sits at home saying, I could go to the game and pay, say, $10 to watch it on site, or I can sit at home and watch it for free. I don't think that conversation happens. And if it doesn't happen in the majority, what I do think happens is I can go to the game, maybe get in, it might be full or the weather's bad or whatever the case may be, or I can sit at home and watch it. It's a really busy day. I don't have time to get to the arena. Why don't we do that? I think that's the type of conversations that take place and the difference between someone sitting at home and watching it or going on site. But here's the bigger thing. I think those who are close to the arena will go to a game when it's a big enough game. They aren't going to sit across the street from the arena watching the game live streamed. The live stream is for the larger audience outside of that. It's for the alumni. It's for the families. It's for the national media, to be selfish. It's for just national fans of Division III to see it who have no chance of getting to that arena at all. I think the argument is fair, charge one, charge the other, but the audience that makes it that is significant for or a determining factor for is it's tiny. It's a very small audience. I think you still make your money at the gate, even if it was free online. But here's my bigger concern. American Rivers Conference said bigger broadcasts. What does that mean? Are you bringing in a production company? Are you guaranteeing multiple angles, good replay, great broadcasters, incredible replay opportunities for your officials because it's a bigger broadcast? If that's the case, hats off to you. I get why you're charging. That's going to be a bit more of a foot of the bill than it is to just do what you're normally doing. But if it's the normal broadcast, and some of them are very good, don't get me wrong. But if it's a normal broadcast and nothing's bigger about them, then it's a gimmick. It's a bait and switch. It's a promise you can't keep. So I'm a little nervous about the wording the ARC is using in promoting their postseason thing. It's also a dip in the toe, but here's why I think Division III is getting lazy. A lot of these conversations I hear is, well, we need to bring in revenue, especially if the Power 4, Power 5, whatever you want to call it, falls apart and they leave the NCAA. Different conversation. I'm not one who thinks that's going to happen for a lot of reasons that aren't worth, I don't have time to get into. I do have to go and be Mr. Dad here in a bit. To take the arguably somewhere between $25,000 and $40,000 a year from Flow to be a web streaming entity and let Flow keep all the money from subscriptions and advertising that they run is a lazy scenario because, first off, one or two student athletes on total amongst the entire department brings in the exact same amount of money on average. So you're willing to sacrifice streaming numbers for two student athletes, and by the way, may lose those two student athletes because they can't even watch the game in recruiting. The amount of notes I have from coaches who are frustrated that recruits can't watch their games unless they foot the bill for web streaming is not short. There's very few who don't care. You also lose alumni who could be paying for or could give you, the school, the money as a tax deduction or give Flow the money as a straight payment. Now, another argument I heard was, well, we'd love to get to ESPN Plus, but we don't have the numbers. And listen, I'm not going to sit here and argue that if a conference goes to ESPN Plus, they shouldn't. That is a tough argument because when I pay for ESPN Plus, Disney, I'm getting Disney. I'm getting Hulu. I might be getting HBO for now. I don't know how long that's going to last. But what I say is I get all of ESPN, depending on the package I want to pick. I get all of Disney, all of Hulu, and all of ESPN. Having the conference on there is pennies on the dollar in comparison. Pennies on the dollar. And don't get me wrong, folks, I have a media account. I can watch this stuff without paying. I am thinking about other people. I am thinking about if I was in this situation, what I would have to be doing. I'm not paying for a Flow account. It's not advantageous. They don't have enough stuff for me to be interested. I'm not turning on Flow for dirt track racing as much as I've watched dirt track racing. And I'm not a huge fan, but I've gone to dirt track races. I find it a fun sport. I think Division III is lazy. There's two other options. Is you do the Messiah model and you turn that, and other schools have done this. Gettysburg has raised $700,000, $800,000 every year through their alumni network. You dive in and you make that a thing. You make the broadcasts based on your alumni network and you tell them, you donate to us, we make these better, and you will see an exponential growth. I have seen it happen at multiple institutions. That's one option. By the way, parents can donate. Everybody can donate. Tax deductible. By the way, when you make the NCAA tournament, you also get money towards web streaming. Utilize that money to upgrade your web streams. But the second option is a little bit more difficult, but it's not unfeasible. Go to your region and sell advertising and sponsorship. And for those saying, well, no one cares outside our market, I disagree. If I'm watching a game and there's a presenting sponsor of the local pizza chain, and I come to your town, whether I'm a parent, if I'm an alum, if I'm just me, and that pizza chain is there in the corner and I'm getting dinner, I'm going to the pizza chain. I know that pizza chain. I saw advertising on the broadcast. I'll patronize them. Why not? And you don't have to charge a ton. You get 5, let's just make up numbers. Get 5 of your local institutions to give you $5,000 and you've just made up the $25,000. You get 10 to give you $5,000. And I know this isn't easy, but you're now at $50,000. And you got to have alums and or families or whatever that are at big corporations. Maybe they will lose some money, literally lose some money to give to the cause. And now you've got a big title sponsor. Yes, you have to have someone who's working on this. And I'm not talking about the sports information directors who are already overworked. You are going to have to maybe put in an assistant athletics director who's in charge of this. D1s do this at a much larger scale. You only have to do it at a smaller scale. Dive in. Let's do this. Let's take that as the road of finding the money, because I'll be honest, this road of web streaming and pay-per-view is not going to make up the money should those powers leave and Division III's on its own. It's nowhere close because we're giving it away by being lazy. It's going to take outside the box thinking. It's going to take some gumption, and it's going to take some people going, we have to spend a little here on individuals to get it back. And then you're going to get it back. I promise you. Have the institution invest, run admissions ads, run alumni ads, run things that celebrate the school. Do whatever you need to do. Jump on it. With that, I got to quickly mention, I'm wearing Gettysburg gear tonight. I'm running late. We got to go. You can send us stuff for the studio, and we have now started this video series where we will unpack gear. We did a video on this already. Mary Slacer's mother is awesome. Though we're going to have to email her. W&L, if you watched our show, the W&L t-shirt made its way to us. We'll email her about it. If you want gear for us to wear, if you want jerseys to put on the wall, if you have swag to put on our shelves, contact us. We will get it. We will get it on air. We will do an unpacking. I will do my best to not know what's in those packages and unpack them on video, and we'll post them. We posted one about the W&L video. Email me, hoopsville@d3sports.com. If you know my actual email address, use that, and I will get you information on how you can send us stuff. We already have schools that say they're going to send us stuff. This could get a lot of fun, and I will wear the swag. I've usually been quiet about that, but forget it. I should be on this show wearing D3 garb. Let's do it. Send stuff in. I've got a handful of schools that have sent me stuff that fit. I will wear it like I'm doing with Gettysburg today, and I did with Eau Claire last week. I will wear it. I will wear it proudly. I will have the rule that if your conference is on that show, I obviously will not wear it. Let's do this as a way of celebrating Division III. And we will start rotating jerseys in this studio as well. With that, I got to go. Illinois Wesleyan, Russell Sage, Immaculata, Colorado College. Thank you to all the coaches in it, including Noah, the student athlete we had on the show. So thanks to Ron, Brian, Brittany, and Katherine. Thank you also to all the sports information directors who did a yeoman's work to help me get this show put together. Next show will be Tuesday at noon. It looks like I'm on my trip to Houston, so I'll be flying back on Monday. I'm going to make a decision on top 25 in the next 12 hours or so. We will decide on that. But next big show is definitely Tuesday at noon. We may do the top 25 that night, or we may try and sneak it in the night before. We'll see what we can put together. Stick to D3 Hoops on Twitter for more information. And thank you so much for watching, everybody. I got to run. Archive will be up in a bit. Podcast a little bit later. If you're listening to the podcast, it's already up. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for joining us on the show. We appreciate it. You've been watching Hoopsville, presented by D3Hoops.com from the WBCA studios. Thanks to our partners at D3 Hoops and the Women's Basketball Coaches Association. If you got questions, you got thoughts, you got guest ideas, email us. We'll look forward to hearing from you, and thanks for tuning in. See you on Tuesday at noon.